Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Hello? Hello. Everybody, happy Monday. Welcome to 2024, man. And you're very welcome to a brand new series, the Gallic Wars, right here on Microsoft Flight Simulator. Happy New Year. You're looking well. How's the head now, be honest, right? Jesus, Murph, you're hitting us with this and also history at the same time, right? Bananas now, lads, bananas. And you went bananas at the start. Right, subs all over the shop. Thank you very much indeed. Hope you're all very, very well. Hope you had a great weekend, a great Christmas, and well, you know, headaches, or what are they called now? Cisalpine, and what's the other one? Nurofen. Oh yeah, they're your friends, lads. They're your friends. So tonight we embark over the next 10 weeks of a new series focusing on the Gallic Wars. Roman history, but also kind of European history. In actual fact, it's world history because, well, a lot of the things from this era, well, they're still prominent in our very world today, right? Now, this is kind of in my boathouse, right? I'm into me Roman history now. I like it. So, it may not be your cup of tea, but sure, listen, just flying as well. Some awesome aircraft in this entire series, and do you know what I mean? We'll be keeping busy, lads. We'll be keeping busy, right? So we'll jump in here, say hello to everyone. Then we're going to talk about what it is we're going to be getting up to, because it's a fairly busy night tonight. Tonight we focus on the introduction of what the whole thing is all about, what we're doing, how we're doing it, and, you know, who, what, where, when, how, why, and whatever else we can add to it, right? So let's just see what happens. So who's here? Super Typhon, Happy New Year, man. Mr. 90 is here along with Viper Strike. Hello, hello. Let me see. Nightsep, good to see you. Buttons over here, Murph. Wayland Chutani is in the house. Happy New Year to you. Tarnish Mossman. Hello. Hope you're well. He says, yeah, baby. Yeah, I changed my alert. I might have to change it back. Well, it depends how much you press the button. Yeah, baby. Right, it's one of those. But anyway, Dragon617 is here. Teutonius Murpheus. Brilliant. Do you know? Vacuum, good to see you, man. Vince C is here. Country Flyer is in the chat. Black Ice Gabe. We have a Black Ice Gabe. It's good to see you, Gabe. Happy New Year, lads. Spitfire RAF 100. Welcome in, man. Who else is here? Look. The lovely Kaharia has rumbled in. She says, good evening and Happy New Year, you bunch of legends. Many happy returns, Kaharia. Gary JF, good to see you. Sticky Rice is here. Fierce Wolf, looking fierce. Jand Wolfie. As Dr. Notham bursts in the door and says, hi, everyone. It's good to see you, man. Dougal McTavish, the German, has rumbled in. He says, Happy New Year, all you lovely people. Here's to another year of mayhem and madness. All right, Jason, I was going to wear a toga tonight. I actually legit was going to wear a toga tonight. And, well, Mr. Teuton told me not to. Because, well, obvious reasons, lads. We'll get into it. But anyway, who else is here? Fat Ras ESB, good to see you. Muse Fan, he says, how he is. Yez mad jokes, yez. Happy New Year. Many happy oh Jesus, me hand, it started. Happy New Year, Muse. Hope you're well, man. Right, we're over here. Monty is watching us over on YouTube. You're very welcome aboard. AZ Blue Line is here. Happy Monday. 6 knots. Happy New Year to you, Kieran. Hope you're well, man. See you later, rambles in. He says, Happy New Year to you, Murph, and to your whole family, as well as to all my fellow Fireflies and Firefly Air pilots. Cheers, everyone. Good man yourself. See you later. Jesus, that was a sentence and a half, wasn't it? Right, we're over here, look. Ah, yes, a bit of, do you know what I mean? Not terribly Roman, but let's go with it and see what happens. Sure, the Irish invented the Roman. I told you all that before. Sterling, good day. Good to see you, man. Now let me see. Duffman, welcome in. He says, hello and Happy New Year. Many happy returns. Shuffle Shoes shuffles in. AJH John, you're very welcome aboard. Martell is in the house. TJ Turner, good to see you. Now, Wombat49, he says, Happy New Year to all yous flaming galas. May 2024 be good to you all. Flyman, good to see you. Wombat, welcome in, man. Now, Wayland Chitani, yes, I'll say hello again. Eamon 1973 says, flying tonight wearing my Two-Tone Murphy Firefly t-shirt, which my wife bought for me for Christmas. She's a keeper. Good to see you, Eamon. Now, let me see. Serious Wolf, hello. Good to see you, man. Lima Kilo Mike is in the chat. Damn it, Jim. He says, all right, but apart from the sanitation, the medicine, education, wine, public order, irrigation, roads, the freshwater system and public health, what have the Romans done for us? The colander? Shut up! Good to see you. Now, let me see. We're over here, look. Where's this button? Oh, yeah. Vinci, good to see you. You like the intro? Sweet. Squawk Torque is in the house. What's the command she's max cruise speed? Like 140. We'll have a look here now in a sec. Sunjammer, good to see you. You're very welcome aboard, man. Hummingbird is here. Happy New Year, all. I remember 2023 like it was yesterday. Jesus. Wait. Yeah. Gregory, good to see you. No, it's not Gregory. It's Georgie. But I used to call you Gregory, but I call you Georgie now because that's your name. Happy New Year. Haven't seen me since last year, he says. Robert J. 56 is here. Good to see you, man. Devil Dude is in the house. Happy New Year to you. Captain Meowingtons, welcome in. Salve, citizen. Stick Figure, A2 Murphy. Good to see you, man. Pilot Joe, you're very welcome aboard. Toto is in the house. Cy Murray, Happy New Year. He says, Jesus, I nearly forgot about it. What? How could you nearly forget? God almighty. The Polar Bear is in the chat along with Blender Music. Hey lads, good to see you. Onboard Simulations watching us on YouTube. He's joined by Kenneth Fitzpatrick. Welcome in, lads. Hope you're all keeping very well indeed. Daddy Plump is here. Excited for this one, he says. Right. I've lots of talking to do. Not like me at all, right? Yes, Mozart the Cat. All the cool kids are here. You're very welcome aboard.
Baby.
Yeah, right. The things with the stuff. But yes, don't like the yeah baby over the music. You don't like it over the music. I don't know how we get it under the music, but I hear what you're saying, Tarnish. I don't know how I'm going to fix that. I won't be able to fix it tonight. Let's pretend it's... No, we can't. It's shagged. But listen, if it gets annoying, I'll turn it off. But yes, who's this? Marder 1986. He says, Happy New Year from Germany. Many happy returns from Ireland. Hope you're keeping well. Cian Lafford is here. Cian calling from South Tipperary. Absolutely shagged with the flu. You poor old devil, you Cian. Hang on in there. We're nearly there. Guido says, hello, I discovered your channel thanks to Alison. Well, thank you very much indeed. Yes, Alison Johnson had a magnificent stream yesterday, bringing us into the new year. Some 13 hours of a stream. Incredible. Now, let me see. Mrs. Two-Tone advised you not to wear the toga because she has eyes. What? You've never seen me in a toga. It's beautiful. Oz Nomad is here. Good to see you. Flyer 10, welcome aboard. Jesus, lads, it's busy. Filthy. A joke you can use once a year. It pretty much was, yes. Tarmo 10K is here. Welcome aboard. Happy new flight sim year. And to you. Now, Murphy est egit qui omnia legit incella. I've just been keened in Latin. I've been Latin keened. Kanzui is here. Evening all. Happy New Year, he says. Would you get a look at the beautiful aircraft on screen? Would you look at the absolute suffering state of the livery that we have dressed our Comanche in for this evening's flight? Yes, friends, this livery created by our very own Kanzui and is the inspiration behind the livery created for the FS Reborn FSR 500. It's all the stuff, lads, all the stuff, do you know? Anyway, we're catching up slowly. Who's this? Retrieval Neil, good to see you. Kozaki Flyer is in the house, welcome in. Philip Foster, well, hello there. Good to see you, Philip. Hope yourself and Mr. Two-Tone family are keeping well. We are, thank you, Keen. And well, same to you. Canoe Head says yes to Mrs. Murph. Wait, what? No! I'll wear the toga. There could be a toga, lads. I'm only saying. Almost 14 hours. Jesus. Excited to see this campaign. The Romans have been in good form of late. Indeed, indeed. And we don't want to see it in a toga. Wait, what? Recently got the FSR 500. Absolutely love it, says Blair Music. It's awesome, man. Absolutely awesome. It's incredible. You got Viber. It translates from Latin to Murphy is an agent who reads everything in the room. Yeah, we got there. Ian Fisher, good evening. Happy New Year to you, man. Hope all is keeping very well. And yeah, togas are comfortable. I well believe it. B. Carlo is in the chat. Good to see you, B. Carlo. Right, I think we're getting there. As I said, there's a lot of well, we've a lot of stuff to talk about, right? And well, Sean Dale is going to hide in the corner. So it's just fine, Sean. It's fine. It's a toga party. I would like to extend to you an invitation to the toga party. Huh? The party with the toga. Ryan, good timing, Ryan. Ryan White is here. Good to see you, Ryan. You're very welcome aboard. And now let me see. I've other buttons over here. I need to do something with those sound effects. I don't think Tarnish was too happy. What's this one do? Oh yeah, this is a good one. Hang on. Well, I downloaded a couple of new sounds because it's me, and I'm in Egypt, and we'll play them here now in a while, right? So a toga nowadays is considered not safe for work. What are you talking about? Be grand. Gordo, good to see you. Did you know that 2024 is the Chinese year of clogs? Wait, what? Is it? Crocs are like clogs. you know, different sort of footwear. Jess, Filthy says, toga party. We need an Animal House soundbite for the series. No, Kanzui is not serious. Oh, for God's sake, you're so desperate. Right, this is what we're doing tonight, look. Jesus, the sound effects get better. So using Navigraph, well, we're on the ground here at Urbe here in Rome, right? An airport that was actually commissioned by your man, the late unpleasantness. What was his name? El Duccio. And basically, it became kind of like one of the primary civilian airports in Italy for years, right? Then it got absolutely bombed out of it during the Second World War. Mussolini had all the crack with this one. But anyway, we will be departing from there. Then, friends, our first stop of the night brings us up to Pisa. Seemingly, there's a tower that's leaning on its side. And from Pisa, we're going to head over to Florence, right? Over to the Pre-Tola Airport. And then finally, we ramble up to Torino. This is kind of like this is Cisalpine Gaul, effectively. This was known as Cisalpine Gaul. Now, we'll get into all the history and learning and doing stuff, right? But Cisalpine and Transalpine Gaul, they were the regions, right? So you had Gaul proper, which was pretty much all of France, a spot of kind of Belgium, the Netherlands, Switzerland, basically the Rhine. The River Rhine was the border, okay? And Cisalpine, or CIS Alpine Gaul, well, that literally means this side of the Alps on the Italian side, and Transalpine Gaul basically means on the other side of the Alps. Trans, right? Cisalpine Gaul. So that's where we're heading up to tonight, right? Well, total mileage for this one. There's a fair whack of mileage on this one. So we're going to get going here relatively soon, right? And now, let me see. There's buttons over here because... you know me, I typed about 7,000 words for this, but I'll give you an introduction to what it is we're doing and why we're doing it, and then we're going to get the aircraft set up, and you know, we'll do a bit of a stuff, right? So the Gallic Wars, we're going to embark on a historical journey through Julius Caesar's conquests in Gaul with the Gallic Wars series, where each flight not only traces his steps, but immerses us in the landscape and context of ancient Europe, all through the lens of Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's very good, isn't it? You swear I wrote that. Anyway, part one, that's what we're doing tonight. Introduction. The rise of Caesar from Rome to the Alpine Gateway. That's what we're doing tonight. We're going to start off in the heart of ancient Rome, exploring its rich history and Caesar's early life. Our flight will take us from Italy's bustling capital to the serene landscapes of the Alps, mirroring Caesar's initial journey from the centre of political power to the frontiers of Rome. We're going to depart out of Rome Urbe Airport, Lima, India, Romeo uniform, and we're going to fly over Tuscany to Pisa International Airport, Lima, India, Romeo Papa. We then proceed to La Spezia Airport. That doesn't seem right, is it? LIQW? What? That's wrong. LIRQ. It's Florence.
Hello there.
And then we're going to ramble up then to Lima, India, Romeo Papa. Now, our final destination is going to be in Turin-Aeritalia Airport, Lima, India, Mike Alpha. Tonight we're going to be flying in the Piper PA-24 Comanche. This is the AccuSim Comanche by A2A. It's phenomenal. We all love it. Absolutely brilliant, right? Night Noob, thank you for the follow. And looks like Luffy, thank you for the follow. Welcome in, guys. You're very welcome. Total mileage is about 287 nautical miles for tonight's flight. All right, so that's what we're doing tonight. And then each week, over the next 10 weeks, we continue on. I'll give you a brief overview of what we're going to be doing. All right, so part 2, which is next week, it focuses on a tribe called the Helvetii. The Helvetii were a tribe that lived somewhere in and around kind of Lake Geneva, right? The first challenge, crossing the Alps. All right. This part focuses on Caesar's confrontation with the Helvetii tribe. The flight spans the scenic alpine regions of Italy, France and Switzerland, offering a glimpse of the challenging terrain that Caesar's legions had faced. We're going to be flying in a Cessna 172 for that, which somewhat embodies the adaptability required by Caesar's troops back in the day. And, well, that flight is going to be about 236 nautical miles. Part 3, the week after, shall focus on the Battle of Bibracte, the decisive victory overcoming the Helvetii tribe, right? So, as we reenact or fly over where the pivotal Battle of Bibracte over modern-day France, a key victory for Caesar, we shall experience in the lush landscapes of the French countryside, reminiscent of the battlegrounds where Caesar proved his military mettle. Right, that's relatively short. The one after that then, part 4, the Suebi, and we get an introduction to a character called Ariovistus. Basically, it's to do with the Germanic threat, and we're going to be checking out the Jura mountain skirmishes, all right, as we follow Caesar's clash with the German Suebi tribe and leader Ariovistus. The flight traverses the Jura mountains and the borderlands of France, Switzerland and Germany, highlighting the rugged terrain where Caesar expanded Rome's influence. We're going to be flying in the Cessna 414 Chancellor on week 4. Week 5, campaigns in the east, the Belgae uprising confronting the Nervii. So, experience Caesar's eastern campaigns against the Belgae, or the Belgae, and the Nervii ambush, spanning areas now part of France and Belgium. And we're going to be flying in the, the Shorts 360, a huge machine. That's from Black Box Simulations. Part 6, we're going to have a look at the Veneti and the Battle of Morbihan, naval mastery, the fight of the Brittany coast. This one, we're going to dive into naval battle against the Veneti along Brittany's coast in modern-day France. The flight will allow us to explore the maritime aspects of Caesar's campaign. So he actually got his hands wet, I suppose, on naval campaigns, which the Romans were they weren't very good at naval campaigns, but their foot soldiers were second to none. For that flight, we're going to be flying in the FSR 500. Part 7, we're going to cross the Rhine, venturing into Germania, right? Relive Caesar's bold crossing into the Germanic territories. They built a massive bridge there back in the day. Fascinating stuff. And for
baby. Yeah.
Jesus, for that, we're going to be in the TBM 850. Then part 8, crossing the Channel, Caesar's British expedition. Trace Caesar's invasion of Britain across the English Channel. The part of the journey explores the mysterious lands to the north of Gaul. See, back in the day, right, the Gauls, well, you had all these sort of kind of mad people. The Gauls they were barbarians. They were anyone who wasn't Roman or Greek to the Romans were basically barbaric, right? They were mad, hairy individuals. And with the Gauls, they sacked Rome in and around 300 BC. So they were effectively the boogeyman, right? Or the bogeyman, whatever way you call them. But they used to terrify the Romans. These Gaulish creatures with their big hair and tattoos and all this. Then you had over the border, you had the Germanic people. They were another bunch of savages altogether. The Romans were terrified of them, didn't like them one bit, because the German people were ferocious warriors. And no one could even contemplate the Britons. What? I mean, that was literally the edge of the world back then. We couldn't deal with that. Are you mad? So the Romans very much, you know, at this time, they had pretty much conquered Spain. They had the very southern parts of France. Just think of like a tight road from Spain back into Italy. They had all of Italy. And, you know, they touched into kind of almost as far as Asia Minor. Asia Minor was the name the Romans gave to the region of in and around Turkey. Right? Fascinating stuff. Anyway, that's going to be the invasion of Britain. Part 9.
It's been 84 years.
Redeemed. Someone redeemed it. Don't mind that. We're getting into it now. Part 9, our 9th week, we're going to focus on Vercingetorix and the siege of Alesia. The final stand as we clash with the hero of Gaul. We're going to engage with the siege of Alesia, a decisive confrontation with the Gallic chieftain Vercingetorix. The segment takes us over the heartland of Gaul, modern-day France, where Caesar faced his most formidable opponent. And that's going to be done in the Douglas DC-6. And then finally, week 10. Alle iacta est. The die is cast. Return of the Conqueror. The series completes itself when Caesar returns to Rome, marking its transition from a military commander, or his transition from a military commander all the way up to the ruler of Rome, if you will. The flight takes us to the heart, back to Roman power, symbolising Caesar's transformation and the impending changes to the Roman Republic. And that one we're going to fly in the Vision jet, because it's a bit of a far one, right? So it's a huge series, this one. It's huge in terms of context and learning it, but there's a lot of flying in it as well. And I've chosen some pretty nice aircraft for this, right? Each flight, it's not just a route. It's designed to be a chapter in the saga that changed the world. It's basically, can we learn as much as we can about the Gallic Wars? And there's a couple of reasons why we have so much information or, you know, evidence of the Gallic Wars. Well, Caesar wrote them. He called them the commentaries of the Gallic Wars. Now, history always favours the victor, right? And Caesar was no stranger to PR or propaganda or any of that jazz. So we take what he says with a pinch of salt, within reason, particularly when it comes to like the overall numbers on the battlefield. But at the same time, Caesar was smart enough. He knew like there was many people with him. His legions, like there was tens of thousands of soldiers. So he couldn't just waffle his way and hoping, you know, they'll believe everything they'd say. Sure, the lads would come back and say, well, we didn't do that. Are you mad? Do you know what I mean? So there is an element of that, all right? So tonight, as I said, part 1, introduction of the Gallic War series. And, well, we're going to learn a little bit about all of this. So what we're going to do, we're going to get our aircraft up and running, fire it up, and there's a bit, right? We'll talk about the history of Rome, what the political landscape was, and how it transitioned into a republic. We'll learn about some of the key characters. Then we're going to focus on Julius Caesar himself. How did the Senate work? What were the rank structures? What were the positions in the Senate, right? And what else do we have? Caesar's early life. We're going to learn about Marius and Sulla. We're going to learn about Caesar's early career and the honours that he got. We even talk about pirates. There's even pirates in this. And then we get on to, where is it now? The political career, meeting Pompey and Crassus, right? The first triumvirate, and then the push for Gaul, and then leading into the Gallic campaigns. There is a fair whack of this, right? There's a fair whack of this. Now, where did I put the yoke? I needed to find a thing here. Because I know Keane Lafford said this would be, you know, he's into all this. He'd be brilliant, right? Just need to find it now. Where is it now? Where is the... I'll find it here now, lads. I've loads of notes, so you'll have to bear with me. But we're going to get ourselves up and running, right? Where's this now? Yes. We'll find it here, Murphy. Where did I put that? Interesting. Let's see here now. I'm looking for the funny bit because I wrote down some funny bits. Hang on now, we'll find it, right? We'll find it. I'll find it again. If I've lost it, I'll find it again. That's the easiest. Where is it now? Like some of the things we learned, like, do you remember the sacred chickens? We learned about sacred chickens before. The Romans had these sacred chickens, right? Anyway, here we go. Cheese diplomacy, right? The Romans and the Helvetii might have had different views on many things, but one common love was cheese. The Swiss, descendants of the Helvetii, are famous for their cheese, and Romans loved cheese too. Now, left-handed soldiers in the Roman army being left-handed were considered inconvenient for formations. Imagine if you were left-handed and in the legions. Roman salt salary. This is important. Roman salt salary, right? Roman soldiers were sometimes paid in salt, which is where the word salary comes from. Salary being the Latin word for salt. Bet you didn't know that now. Salary. Yeah, it was salt. See, we know stuff. Now, where's the... I had a bit earlier on, and I'm after losing it. So let's not worry and get bogged down. We'll get the aircraft set up and see what we can do here, right? So I'll get some sounds into the sim. And I need to open this page here.
Baby.
There's buttons being pressed here. Ailerons into wind, thank you very much indeed. My history teacher didn't believe me about the sacred chicken, says Keane. What? Canadians took the Caesar drink and made it better. Ooh, extremely hungover, but I'm here. Husker Du, good to see you. I heard that Murph learned about Romans. Steady. Hey, Scotland Ryanair is here, good to see you. A Roman walked into a bar, held up 2 fingers and said, 5 beers, please. Yeah, you'd swear I liked Roman history, right? Sulla, now that was a jerk. Oh, yeah. Fun fact, Roman soldiers were sometimes paid in...
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Clarky got there before I got there. Curse of Jesus in it. Now, let me see. Coxburgh dev team. Seb, where are we at? Thank you very much indeed. Cheers, man. Right, where was the other thing? I can't believe I'm after losing the other bit I wanted. Hang on a second, lads. Bear with me now, right? Because I need to press some buttons here. Because I'm after missing all my notes from earlier. I'm not missing all my notes. I'm just missing some of my notes, right? Some of my notes. I'm just trying to go back here now. Let me see. Ah, yes. Yes. It's up here, look. Wait and hear this, right? Roman superstition. Here's one for you. The Romans were extremely superstitious about the left side. The Latin word for left is sinistra, which gives us sinister in English. Romans considered it an ill omen. Imagine, Roman pilots could only do right turns. Jesus, that means my dad's boat is Roman. It doesn't turn left, it only turns right. Did you know that, did you? There you are now. Superstition. No soap, no problem. Ancient Romans used a cleaning tool called a strigil to scrape dirt and sweat off their bodies, as soap was not widely used. Now, yeah, I just need to go off and get me strigil there, be alright. And then the last thing I need to tell you is about tunics, right? Tunics, right? The Roman tunic, a staple clothing item, was notoriously short. A common joke was that tunics kept getting shorter to save on the cost of fabrics. Now, yeah, skirts and all that sort of I don't know what it is. But anyway, right, consider ourselves educated, or at least enlightened, if you will. Yes, we are enlightened of what's going on. How's that for us? Yeah, I think it works. Right, now we're up here. No, Jesus wasn't born until... Wait, what? Hey, John, good to see you. Lefties for the win, right? There was a song, past the douchey on the left-hand side comes from. Wait, was it? Size doesn't matter, says Cain. Please make a left turn, Roman pilot. 3 right turns, got it, right? The sacred chickens don't taste very nice. In fact, they taste foul. Oh, that's brilliant, Tarnish. Well, I'll tell you another one. Do you know what the Romans used to do to cure a hangover? I thought now this would be brilliant. Now, we'll get flying now in a second. But you know what the Romans used to do to cure a hangover? Right? They used to get canaries and deep fry them. Deep fried canaries. And they'd eat them, and that would cure their ailments of a hangover. Fact. I've never tried eating a canary. I don't think it would be particularly nice, but that's what they did. Imagine. Beautiful birds, these. No, wait, put them in the fat fryer. I'm eating them. Good tweetment. Do you know what I mean? Hey, Captain Takachi's here. Good to see you. So I am the evil... Oh, wait, I am evil then, being a lefty. Sunjammer, the Romans... No, straight away. Crucifixion, that was the end of it. The boat's roaming all over the place. Ah, Jesus. History Channel, you mean... It was for sure Aliens Channel. Yeah, whatever happened to the History Channel? Ancient Aliens and we think we've built this for Aliens Channel. It used to be great. Anyway, where are we at? We're over here, look. All hail lefties. No, not at all. At least the canaries were going cheap. Jesus. Sunjammer. 1 cross each. Line on the left. Crucifixion. Now, he actually told me I'm free to go. Did he really? Yeah, he said, you've been a mistake and you're free to go. Oh, that's great news, isn't it? Well, off you pop. No, I'm only joking. The life of Brian. Brilliant. Anyway, I've been to the Canary Islands. There's no canaries there. I've also been to the Virgin Islands. There's no canaries there either. Brilliant. Right, anyway, Aidway Comanche, welcome and hello. So we're going to get ourselves situated and, well, get the aircraft set up. So here we are in a cold and dark kind of a setup. And, well, we're going to remove the control lock. Go! And bring up a little iPad gadget Rooney here. Open me fuel valves. This is important. And what else do we need to do here? Everything else looks good. So we're going to go to our walk around. And we'll start off. Oh, wait, jump back in. Let's lower the flap so I can actually see what I'm doing. There we go. So we'll do our walk around. So we're going to start off here on the right wing. And we're going to check the condition of the aeroplane. Right flap is good. There's no excessive movement. We carry on. The aileron. Yes. We need to inspect this. So we move it nice and gentle. You'll notice that the yokes are moving inside the cockpit. No weird noises. There's nothing kind of locked or jammed, and there's nothing in there that, you know, we need to worry about. Now, fuel. We're going to open up the right-hand side. There's nothing in there, so we're going to go to our fuel and payload, and we're going to look at the right tip tank. So we're going to throw in 6 gallons of fuel into the right tank. Go! Get that closed. And while we're here, we can also turn on the battery, and we're going to put on our nav light. Green light is working. Pretty good. Continue on to our next station, and we're going to check the fuel for any contaminants. So it's all lovely and blue, nice and clear, no sign of water. Our landing light needs to be checked here now as well, so we're going to check our left landing light. No, Murphy, it's your right landing light. Ah! Yeah, positively blinding. Brilliant, it works anyway. That's the main thing, lads, once it works, right? So moving on now to our next station, we're going to remove the tie down. I didn't hear a sound. There you go. Tie down removed. And while we're here as well, you'll be checking on the condition of the tyre and whatnot. Right, our main fuel tank on the wing. In here and have a look. So yeah, we're quite low on the old sauce here. So we're going to fill her up. So our right wing tank, go ahead and horse it in. We're going to fill it up to the absolute brim. 30 gallons. 30 gallons is in. We can see the fuel up here. So go ahead and get that and lock it into place. Thank you. On to our next station. From here, we're going to remove the chocks. We're going to check on the tyre. We're going to look for any debris or any kind of foreign objects underneath the landing gear. All looks well. We now go to the southernmost point of the airplane. That's where we open up our fuel valves. And we're going to check for contaminants in with our fuel here as well. It's all nice and blue. No different changes of colour. Force it down there now and should be absolutely grand. We'll get that flap closed. Moving on to the main prop, we're looking for anything blocking the air intake. We're looking at the prop itself. If there's any cracks or damage. And this main spinner, there's no kind of dints or binges or banges. We're looking fairly okay. While you're here as well, you'd also look at the any of the radiator intakes as well. You'd be looking at those. Do you know what I mean? Joe, thank you very much for the subscribe at tier 1 for 4 months, man. Cheers, man. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, moving along. Now we're going to check on the engine oil. So the engine oil, let's have a look here now. So we go fuel. Actually, we go to maintenance and it will be the engine. Right. So, well, we can see where the engine oil is and it's relatively clear, look. So we don't have enough oil in it. We're just going to top it up a little bit. There's about kind of 9 quarts in there. Just bring it up to about kind of 10. Give or take. Any more than that, Scott was telling me his real Comanche, you put more than 9 in, or even 10, it'll just blow some oil outside the oil escape, and anything less, well, you're putting the engine under pressure. You know what I mean? So that looks good to me. The oil is nice and clean. Lock in our dipstick, and we continue on. We continue on. So to the next station, left wing, main fuel. And we're going to top this guy all the way up there as well. Bring it all the way up. There's 30 gallons in situ. And how you know this, right? In the real aircraft as well, if you look into the fuel tank itself, you shall see, don't mind the green. See the way there's a small little overflow hole just there? Can you guys see that? It's right where the mouse is, right? That's how you know it's full. If it's slightly less than that, well, it's not full. That's how you know it's full, all right? So go ahead and close. The model matching mod has become borked. I'm seeing finanzas everywhere. Oh, really? Durka is here. Welcome in, man, and Happy New Year to you. Hope you're keeping very well. Under what circumstances would you have bad fuel in the sim? Well, it's modelled in the Comanche. You can actually have water. If you keep one of the flaps open, right? And if you're constantly letting your fuel run down and you just top it up, if it's raining, it'll contaminate the fuel. So it'll actually work. Do you know what I mean? Muttley, good to see you, Muttley. You're very welcome in. Okay, so fuel is looking good. Over to our next station. This is on the left landing gear. We're going to remove the chocks. Again, visually looking for any leaks or any problems. Check out the tyre itself, in and around the landing gear. Anything to do with the undercarriage and where the hinges and all that jazz live. That's where you're looking for any issues. Now on this side, we remove the tie down, remove the pitot cover. And we have our stall sensor up here, this little flap switch. You make sure that's free and easy. There's nothing in there blocking it because, well, we need that to work. We need that to work. Also, while we're here, we can also test the pitot tube just to make sure that it's working, right? So if you press and hold it, you'll see that it turns blue. However, if we turn the divil on, if you go to our pitot heat, which is over here, we'll turn it on now. Usually you'd make sure your battery is fairly lively for this. Do you know what I mean? Old Veteran 965, a very happy new year to you, Scott. I hope you're well, man. You're very welcome in. So after letting the pitot heat warm up, if you press and hold the pitot tube now, you'll see that it's now red. There's an element in that, like your kettle, and it'll heat. And that's where we get your airspeed from. So we're going to turn off the pitot heat. That's all looking good to me. We continue on with our walk around. Over to the left, we're going to have a look at this landing light. Beautiful LEDs, they're working, 100%. Moving along. Onto our left tip tank. Same deal again. We're going to put some fuel in here. We're just going to go with 6 gallons. Lovely. Get it closed up. And while we're here, we're going to test the nav lights as well. Red lights are working. Nav lights are working. Sweet. Now we're going to check for any contaminants. Again, it's lovely and blue. What would happen? Water would go to the bottom. Water, its density is heavier than fuel, so you'll see water on the bottom of the fuel. Yeah?
Hello there.
Thank you for following. Black Knot, cheers, man. Let's make a teapot out of a real pitot tube. You probably could. Where did we get the PA-24 from? This is from A2A Simulations. And if you use the A2A Comanche, just remember, lads, keep the divil updated. So if you go into the A2A Simulations folder, there's a Comanche check for updates. There was an update that I didn't have, so I've just updated it. So that's where you can update it. Okay, left wing is looking good. Left aileron. We're okay-ish. Who this? Mark, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome in, dude. Great to see you. Now, you need to test these because everything's simulated with this aircraft. If you had an issue with any of the control surfaces of your flaps, you'll actually hear it. I mean, you'll notice if there's something wrong. You know what I mean? Same with the flap. We're checking for any sort of excess movement, and the operation should be nice and smooth. All good. If it's not, you'll actually hear
studies,
it.
You know.
You'll actually hear it going.
60% of the time, it works every time.
DeBlaze is here. Good to see you, DeBlaze. Gabe says, Jesus, it's bad enough having to do a walk around for the coach. Now I have to simulate it. Right? Do you know what I mean? Right, moving on.
Baby. Yeah.
There's all sorts of stuff. Sean, thank you very much for the gifted sub. Yeah, baby. These here, your static ports, you're making sure that they're not covered effectively. I mean, this is what helps your altimeter and your airspeed and pressures and all this sort of jazz, right? Pyrotech is here. Good to see you. Usually what covers these in the real world, if you're washing your airplane, well, you need to cover these usually with masking tape, right? And then you cover them. But sometimes you might get a bug in there or spiders or any of these sort of creatures. So that's what you check. Now, towards our stabilator, that's what this is called. Basically, the tail of the aircraft. We remove the tie down. We can check the elevator. It's free and easy. And now the rudder. The rudder's not going to move a whole lot because it's actually connected to the nose wheel, right? We're fairly okay. Right hand side again, you're checking over the static ports. They look grand to me. And, well, we are going on an adventure, so we're going to load up some supplies. So we want our bags. Horse it all in there. The whole shebang. We're bringing everything. Close up the door. And thus concludes our walk around check. Hi, Gore. Good to see you. Welcome in. Right, now let me see. So we can double check everything by inspecting all the elements after your walk around, or if you don't want to do a full walk around, just come into the maintenance area and just do an inspection. Saves you all that time and messing. But again, the A2A gives you the option of, well, do you want to do it or do you not want to do it?
Yeah,
that's what we like about it. You know what I mean? So, Peter Hokey, Clarky, he's just gifted 5 tier 1 subs like a boss. Thank you very much indeed, Clarky. Very, very kind of you, my dude. Cheers, man. Right, okay, so it's time to get this.
Baby. Yeah.
It's time to get this machine started up. So, well, let's see what happens here, right? What buttons am I looking for? Yes. So if I press this one.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Right, okay. Okay, so our battery is currently running. We need to get this door closed, right? Bring in the door. Lock it. That's looking good to me. Flaps, bring them back up. Fornax, good to see you. Welcome aboard, man. Okay, so our battery is already on. We're going to turn on our rotating beacon. Rotating beacon, right? And now we also want to get some fuel movement here. So we're going to turn on our fuel pump. Put your mixture in. Propeller goes to full. Open the throttle a little bit. Confirm that our parking brakes are on and set. Which they should be. Which they are. And we're now going to prime the aircraft. So we'll give it about 4 or 5 squirts of primer. There's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we can verify that we have pressure built up in the fuel because once you turn it on, you'll see that fuel rising. Do you know what I mean? You can actually see it there. So we're going to start up the aircraft. So we're going to open the window. We shall say clear prop. And we'll go for the start. Are we ready? Oh. Okay, good start in the engine. Oil pressure is rising. We're going to lean out our mixture a little bit because we're on the ground. Not too much. About there will do us. Alright. Good start on the engine. Or if we need to do a stream from our new hub, we do, and we will. So we continue on. We're going to go ahead and turn on our avionics. And that's going to get all our radios and our GPS units turned on. Get these guys into action. What else do you want to do here? Strobe lights, no. Taxi lights, yes. And our nav lights, we'll go ahead and bring up our nav lights as well. There's a couple of things also with this aircraft. The cabin environment is modelled here as well. So you want to make sure it's not overly hot in here. Okay, so let's go into our map. We're going to change our course deviation indicator over to GPS because we're following a GPS route. although I suspect it's not in there, so we're going to put one in there. So if we go back, let's go into flight plan, and we shall put in a destination. So let me see. We're going to go all the way. Where are we at, Murph? So we're going, our next stop is going to be LIRP. L-I-R. Come back, Murph. Come back. LIRP. LIRP. Pisa. After that, we're going to go to LIRQ. And then our final stop of the night is going to be over at Torino. Airitalia. That's the one. And that's it. That's the total flight. So we'll go back. Map. There's a flight coming up here now. All should be looking fairly well in the realm. And while we're over here, 1 second now. Just making sure I have everything set up as well on my other screen. Alright, okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to taxi on out and get ourselves underway. How exciting! So multiplayer, let's be having it. Turn on multiplayer. We're going to reset all this. Fill, yes, we're full to the brim. Thank you. So parking brake coming off. And we start to roll, friends. We start to roll. Bit of Toby eye on here, make sure we know where we're going. We're going to taxi down here to the right hand side. This is from beautiful model of the world, this scenery. It's that of Rome Urbe Airport. Very pretty. So we'll taxi on this way. 49 minutes and we're moving. We're not going too bad. Energized, yeah. Christmas is coming, Murph. It is. It's on the way. Oh, look at the pausing and stuttering. Don't crash, Sim. Oh, Jesus, don't crash. Okay, so we taxi on here. Let's have a look at the outside. Isn't it, like, just a gorgeous airplane, isn't it? It's just gorgeous. Now, I've been messing around. Turn that off. I've been messing around with my settings, so how's everything looking on the screen, lads? Is it over sharp or is it okay? Because I used to have clarity. Jesus, this is really struggling. I used to have the clarity down quite a bit. I've now kind of ramped it up again. So I want to make sure it's nice and clear. Guido says it's stuttering. The sim is stuttering, yes. That's only because there's multiplayer. And there's lag. Is there lag on Twitch again? What's been going on with Twitch? It's been freaking out, isn't it? It's been everyone's stream. Why are your trees autumn, like, in colour? It's based on ACU season. Tanner says we're looking good. We're looking good. Okay. Very sharp. Thanks, Gabe. Once it's not overly sharp, do you know what I mean? It should be nice and clear and you can see everything. Don't know what the crack is with Twitch. If Twitch is still causing you the issue, lads, jump over to YouTube. Just in case if it's constantly stuttering and like lagging and all that sort of headache. Do you know what I mean? Because it happened on everyone's stream yesterday. Haven't had any lag on my Twitch today. Nice. Other than the fact that the sim is stuttering, the setting is okay and not Twitch. It's just multiplayer. Yeah. It's usually multiplayer. This is the sim trying to load in aircraft and it's like, what are you trying to do to me? You know, it'd be under savage pressure. But anyway, let's see how we go here now. So we're approaching the whole short line for runway 16. Here we need to do what's called a run-up test. This is exciting, lads. So we're going to do a run-up test. So we're going to bring our aircraft to a stop before the whole short line. Activate the parking brake. And we're going to continue on from here. So we are going to bring our mixture into full. We're going to increase our throttle. Bring the RPM up to about 1800. There's 15, 16, 17, and 18. Couple of checks we need to do here. First up are the mags. So we need to see a drop to make sure that the magnetos are working. So we're going to turn one of them off. So we're going to select the left mag. There's a drop and it's nice and smooth. We'll go back to both. She's rising back up where it belongs. Now we'll go to the right mag. There's a drop. It's looking quite good. Back to both. Now we're going to cycle the prop 3 times. So we're looking for 3 indications. So the first one, we're looking for a drop in RPM. Confirmed. Second check we're looking for is an increase of manifold pressure. Confirmed. And our last check, we're going to see a increase of our fuel, a decrease in our fuel consumption. Perfecto. For our last check, we're going to bring the RPM back up to 1800 and we're going to pull the carb heat, and this should give us a similar drop to a single mag, about 100. Ooh, we got nearly 200 there, but no, we're bang on 100 RPM drop with the carburetor heat on. Okay, we're good. Lights, strobes, transponder. We're VF4. Let's go, VF4. Why is that off? VF4. Altitude reporting. Enter. There we go. Right, we're good. So, parking brake coming off. We shall roll on forward. In the mixture out just a teeny tiny bit. It's hard to read the GG message above your cam. Yeah, I need to fix it, Dr. Notham. That's another gadget I need to fix. I've loads of gadgets. Mother says, I wish I was aware of your stream earlier, then I would have joined your flight. I've just started a Mad Dog flight to Mariri. That's quite okay, Amundus. Racky Pilot, good to see you. Happy New Year, man. So a bit of stuttering here, but don't mind that. Get ourselves lined up here, runway 16. Thank you. Alright, so before we blast off out of here, quick check. We're walking, we're talking. And we are squawking. Okay, lads, time to go flying. Are we ready? So, brakes off. Mixture rich. Power in. Takeoff power set. Speed alive. There's 60 knots. Or 60 miles an hour. Refund? No refunds. There's 80. Oopsie daisy. Positive rate of climb, and we're indicating. Gear up. Beautiful. Little bit bouncy. The aqueduct. Here's the aqueduct. Okay, passing 300 feet. Flaps in. Initial climb is good. It's proper bouncy. Alright. I suspect we're going to have this kind of jumping around stuttery mess until we get out of Rome. But sure, listen, not to worry. So we're flying towards the city. Kinda, sorta. Oh, yes. Okay, we're going to spin down here to the right-hand side. Let's get over the ancient city. And what we're going to do now, when the sim decides to stop kind of, you know, acting the Dennis Hickey, we should do a count. So if you're on the Xbox, press 1. If you're on the PC, press 2. And if you're here because it's Monday and, you know, we all have a sore head, you press number, what was it? 3. 3. Hello, Fireflies. Welcome to the Flying Circus. We live stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 2000 Zulu time, right here. All right. So we're flying directly over the ancient part of the city. The Colosseum, of course, well, back then, well, it wasn't there. Flavian's theatre was built well after the death of Caesar, but this here is the original forum. We also have this part here. This is Caesar's forum. He built this himself. We just passed the mausoleum of Augustus, also the mausoleum of Hadrian. That's in the Castle di Sant'Angelo, which is back up there. And as we fly around this neck of the woods, this here is the Roma Termini station. That's the big, massive train station on your way in into the city itself. So we'll just kind of have to wing it with the old stutters here as we kind of circle over the ancient city. And, well, back then, right, we cast our minds back to then. Rome was a city of about 1 million inhabitants. Like, absolutely jammed with people. And they never had that many people in a city before. Rome was one of the largest cities in the known world. Incredible stuff, right? And where we're flying now, the original city walls, they were there since, you know, at the time of the kings. But the city itself, it kept expanding, as you can imagine. And then they ran out of kind of space, so they started to go upwards, right? And to this day, I mean, they still make massive archaeological finds all around Rome by digging, because you've layers upon layers upon layers upon layers of history. And Rome is constantly reinventing itself. Regardless of being the city that is more than 2,000 years old, it's still a cultural hot point. It's still like such a center of, you know, art and architecture and the history there. It's just superb. And, you know, as a holiday destination, if the history stuff doesn't necessarily float your boat, Rome is a stunning city, and it's great crack. There's great pubs and clubs and all this sort of jazz there as well. Do you know? So it's built along this river here. It's known as the Tiber River, right? And where we're flying now, we're just going to go back over this neck of the woods. Just beneath us, this is the mausoleum of Augustus. Augustus was Caesar's nephew. He was known as Octavian, right? And then Caesar adopted him and he willed everything to him. And that's where he was buried. He was the first emperor of Rome. This is called the Piazza Novana. And the Piazza Novana, it looks similar. You might say, Jesus, that looks like some sort of a hippodrome. Well, you wouldn't be a million miles off. That used to be a hippodrome, very similar to the Circus Maximus. Very same, right? The very same. So this is in and around kind of the Jewish quarter here. We're just going to keep rambling here to the left. And you can see now here is the Circus Maximus, this ginormous hippodrome. And then you have the Forum, the Capitoline, the Apennine, all of that is there. And you have the Colosseum itself. This entire region, Rome had a number of fires back in the day. Like, lots of fires, right? And it was said, you know, Nero fiddled as the city burned. Nero, the 5th emperor of Rome. Well, what did Nero do? He went off and he built the Domus Aurea, which was Nero's palace, effectively. And the site that the Colosseum is built on used to be a man-made lake, and it used to have a giant colossus of Nero. Think of the Statue of Liberty made of gold, you know, on drugs, right? That's what used to be there. So the Domus Aurea, it's still there. The Domus Aurea, it's still there underground. Myself and Mr. Two-Tone got to visit it a few years ago, on with the hard hats, the torches, and in we go underground, right? It was just absolutely incredible, right? So we're going to leave Rome. And what we're doing here, the significance of this, well, this is the start of what Caesar did. He left Rome many times, but in this instance, this is our journey starting the Gallic Wars. So we're going to kind of touch base on, well, what was the story? What is this region? Why is it so important, not only to Europeans, but indeed for the world? The impact that Rome had on the world. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to throw my autopilot unit. And just get me trim set up here a little bit. I also want to get my engine management correct. So manifold pressure, we're going to bring you back to about 2200. And we're going to keep our RPM at about 2200. So we're squared off at 2200. And we're going to bring our mixture back just a little bit. So we're going to climb here. So I'm going to activate the autopilot. So it's going to put us into stabilize. And then we're going to go to heading mode. So let's see here now. So heading mode is going to keep us pretty much on this track for the moment. We'll flick it onto heading mode. And I just want to get my altitude somewhat set here. So we'll go to about 1,500 feet. Because we're going to need to climb after a little while. So we're just going to climb here nice and gently up to about 1,500 feet. Romane, Thomas. Super tie, 40 on the PC, says Keane. Good man, Keane. We got 3 on console, 149 passengers, plus a Murph. With only 126 days to Eurovision. Lots of Eurovision news over the weekend. Oh, nice, Keane, nice. Hard hats and torches. Sounds like a night with the wife. There's so much history underground in Italy. I can't wait to visit it someday. Lads, it's absolutely incredible. No Undies McGee, thank you very much indeed for the Twitch Prime subscription. Redman Tech, haven't flown Microsoft Flight Sim since the major update until today. The visuals are simply amazing. The sim has a great future. Oh, absolutely. Hey, Dixon, good to see you. Thub 42, welcome in. Masso, thank you for the follow. Eamon says, I love Rome. I want to go back. Dude, I absolutely love it. Rome is like, and the missus as well, it's our favourite city in the world. That's actually the most amount of pilots we've had with us so far this year. Yes, it is. Run yourself, Keen. Right, we're kind of off track here, but we're all right. Altitude hold. And now I'm going to go to a high sensitivity track on my GPS. And this will follow this magenta line as we go flying, right? Altitude, we're going to hold it around, well, we'll probably have to climb here now in a moment, but we'll get into the reading here now, right? And we'll learn all about it. Awfully, man, Happy New Year to you, man. Large Alive, good to see you. Happy New Year to you. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the man, myth and legend, Jefferson 2001, has rambled in and graced us with his presence. Hello, Jefferson. You're looking well. Let's turn off the old altitude here. Let's climb a little, lads, will we? Up there now, you devil, you. Now, if we go to heading mode, this will help the Comanche an awful lot better, won't it? Into heading mode there for the minute. She reacts a lot better to heading mode than any other mode. We also need to keep an eye on temperatures and pressures, because it's a fully simulated airplane. It's a phenomenal machine. So we'll bring us up to about 2,500 feet. That'll be the best way to do it. Kingsman, good to see you. Welcome in. I mean, the sights of this plane. Look at the formation we have already. Look, this is beautiful. We got some Bonanzas. PC-21, we got a Texan, we got a Caribou, nice, Barranco's with us. Beautiful, lads. Alright, let's just get the old altitude up there. Who's this? Mr. Bank, welcome in. Thank you for the follow. Good to see you, man. I love everything about it, says No Undies McGee. Ooh. Eamon says, I've got Italian ancestry in my surname. It means gift in Latin. My wife reckons I look a bit like Caesar as well. Come on. Brilliant. Okay, let's go back now to a high track. We shouldn't be rolling too far to the right here. We should be kind of rolling left. Basically what we're looking for, right? To see this kind of yellow line. Once that yellow line goes into here, well, it's all tickety-boo. And then we'll need to turn to the left. The navigational options with this airplane, they're great. Like, we did the ADF stuff before. We did VOR, NDBs. We've done all of that with this plane. Really, really good. Really good. Okay, so just watch her climb here. We will be turning left here in a moment. You're going to see that needle, the yellow one, fire all the way over to the left-hand side. And we're going to hold here for altitude. Roughly 2,500 feet. We won't fall out with anyone over that. So as we're looking at it, as this needle now straightens up, the aircraft will want to go to the left-hand side. I'm just going to put my heading where I think we're going to be flying. That beeping we're hearing, that's the autopilot unit telling us that we need to adjust our trim. So see the way the light is flashing telling me trim down? We're going to trim down. It's not the most responsive, but it works. It works well. So here's the left turn coming in. So I'm going to help this along. We're going to go heading mode once again. Because the aircraft, it reacts so much faster. Otherwise, it'd be constantly hunting and searching for it. It's just, it's reminiscent. It's not reminiscent. It's accurate based on the real aircraft. Cyborg Doc calling from Denmark. Happy New Year to you, my dude. Hello from Tipperary. I hope you're keeping very well. So let's see here now. Bit of down trim. Here we go. So we're slowly but surely hitting this magenta line. And this will all start lining up here now for us, alright? So, while we're here, lads, while we're here, let's start off with a brief history of Rome, shall we? Right? Ooh, 1 second now, lads, we're getting a bit of crack here. Bum bum bottom. Bum bum bottom. David Allen. Review. Jesus. Hang on, lads. I need to do a thing on Discord. I won't say we're under attack, but we're not under attack, but it's just something has gone weird. I just need to go into this, press this, and press that. Huzzah. Right. All should be well. Discord is serving CAPTCHA to all joiners to block suspicious DMs. Enable security actions to review if needed. Security actions. Temporarily stop all direct messages from being sent between members in your server for 1 hour. Okay, right, sorry about that, lads. We have to do a bit of house cleaning, or cleaning, rather. Thanks to our moderators for bringing that to the attention, lads. Really do appreciate it. Fair play to you, lads. It'd have been lost without you. Now, brief history. Yeah. Right, here we go. Are we ready? Let's learn about it. Bit of trimmage. There we are. Right, okay. Where's my mouse? It's over here. So, brief history of Rome. The founding and the Republic. Rome's transition, Rome's founding, the legendary founding, was back in the year 753 BC, with the story of Romulus and Remus being suckled by a wolf and then being taken into care. And it was said that Romulus and Remus found the spot that modern-day Rome sits on. And, the two brothers ended up having a scrap, right? And Remus lost, and hence became known as Rome, named after Romulus. But anyway, Rome's transition from a monarchy to a republic is a pivotal moment in history. Traditionally dated at 509 BC, this transformation was led by Lucius Junius Brutus, a figure whose name and legacy would resonate centuries later in the context of Julius Caesar. The last Roman king was Lucius Tarquinius Superbus, commonly known as Tarquin the Proud. His reign was characterized by tyranny and harsh rule. The immediate cause for the revolution against Tarquin was the rape of Lucretia, a noble woman, and by Tarquin's son Sextus Tarquinius. This act sparked outrage among the Roman populace and nobility. Lucius Junius Brutus, a relative of Tarquin, played a central role in the uprising. He was spurred into action by Lucretia's tragic fate and the tyranny of the Tarquins. Brutus rallied the people and led the revolt that ultimately expelled Tarquin and his family from Rome. Brutus is celebrated as one of the founders of the Roman Republic. Following the overthrow of Tarquin, he helped establish the Republic's initial framework, including the office of the consul. Rome had an interesting kind of government state, right? They would not allow one-man rule. Therefore, they had a vote, an election every year for two consuls who would serve for just 1 year. And, you know, the roles were divided equally between both men. And the idea being is not one man can have all the power and, you know, run around and have all the crack, you know. Gibbo left the building. I don't think Gibbo even came into the building. I say Gibbo now is sitting there either going, why is he doing it? Why is my head sore? Do you know? Right, now what are we doing? We're over here, look. Clear that. Clear that. Right. Okay, we will have to climb here now in a little while, but we're okay for the moment, right? We're okay for the moment. Brutus became a symbol of the fight for liberty against tyranny. His actions were seen as foundational in establishing the Roman values and also the Pax Romanus. And Brutus, even to this day, I mean, it was said the A2 Bruti, that came from William Shakespeare. Back somewhere in the 16th century, out of the Globe Theatre, where, you know, on a Friday night, he premiered Caesar. It all came from a show. But I think, and it's fair to say, because of William Shakespeare, I think that has kind of etched the modern psyche of Julius Caesar in our minds. But yeah, I mean, the story can kind of write itself. Do you know what I mean? That's where it pretty much came from. Alison Johnson is here. Hello, Alison. Happy New Year to you. Hope you're well. Right, we need to do a bit of climbing here because things are just going to go terribly wrong. So turn that divil off, scroll her back, and let's start climbing. We'll add in a bit of power. Up the yard. Because we have a friggin' huge mountain to pass here. So we're going to keep climbing here now for the moment, right? Are we on heading mode? We are. Let's go this way a little bit. Anyway. The name Brutus gains historical significance in the context of Julius Caesar. Marcus Junius Brutus, or simply known as Brutus, played a leading role in the assassination of Julius Caesar in 44 BC. Marcus Brutus was believed to be a descendant of the Lucius Junius Brutus, and his involvement in the Caesar assassination was seen as an echo of his ancestors' fight against tyranny, symbolizing the defense of the Republic against perceived dictatorship. So the name Brutus is important. You know, the whole thing with Caesar apparently saying A2 Bruti, I don't believe that would have happened at all. The Romans absolutely adored the Greeks. They were mad about the Greeks. And, well, Roman noble peoples went off and they actually learned how to speak Greek. So more than likely Caesar's dying words are in Greek, do you know? So anyway, the Roman Republic, what was it all about? Well, established in 509, had a complex and evolving government structure. The system balanced power among various offices and assemblies, with the Senate playing a central role. The composition. The Senate was composed of Roman patricians, initially around 300 members. Later, it expanded. Membership was for life and usually based on holding a public office. The Senate's primary role was advisory, providing counsel to the magistrates, the assemblies, and to the consuls. It had significant influence over foreign policy, finance, and legislation. While not a legislative English, or if you can do it, while not a legislative, there we go, we got there. English is hard, words are hard. While not a legislative body in modern sense, the Senate's decree, Senatus Consulta, held considerable weight and were often followed by magistrates. You often saw the letters S, P, Q, or. You see them on Rome, anything in Rome, they're on, like, you know, the shores, they're on post boxes, and you also see them on any of the Roman football teams, this S, P, Q, or. It stands for Senatus Populus Qui Romanus, the Senate and people of the Roman Republic. In actual fact, most countries have their own version of SPQR. In Dublin, you know, the Hibernian House, it's SPQH. There's one in England as well. And so on, right? Anyway, the magistrates. So it started off tribune of the plebe, represented the plebeians, the common people. They had power to veto an action by other magistrates that they deemed harmful to the plebeians. Veto, deny, effectively. That's where that kind of comes from. The Latin word veto, or to block. It's still used today in times of politics. So this magistrative area, right? You know, from tribunes all the way up to consuls. This was known back then as the cursus honor. That's what you did in life. I mean, you either went military or you went political, or you did a bit of both. But the cursus honor was basically your rise to fame sort of thing. So tribunes. Anyway, next up you had censors. They conducted the census, enrolled citizens in voting tribes, and oversaw public morality. Next up we had the quaestors or quaestors. They handled financial matters, such as managing the treasury and accompanying generals to oversee military finances. Next up we had the aediles. They managed the city's public buildings and the festivals, and sometimes oversaw the grain supply. Next we had praetors, responsible for administrating justice. In times of war, praetors could command armies. Then the highest office, the consul. The highest ranking officials were the 2 consuls. Elected annually, they were the heads of state and heads of the military. Their power was equal, and they could veto each other's decisions. And it would only last 1 year, right? Then you became proconsul. After that, you became proconsul. You'd be sent off to whatever region in the empire, and you would reside over that region, basically like retirement, and stay out of trouble. And they had a rule. You couldn't be a consul, you couldn't be re-elected to consul within 10 years. That was the usual. You had to wait 10 years before going back into office. The Romans just didn't like monarchy. They got rid of the kings because they were terrified of like a dictatorship. They didn't want one person calling all the shots. They just didn't like it at all, right? So anyway, we continue on. The assemblies, right? The Centuriate Assembly, the Comitia Centuriata, organised by social classes and the wealth, it elected consuls and praetors. They also were the body who could declare war, and they served as a court of appeal. Then you had tribal assemblies, divided citizens into tribes based on their residence, not their class. It elected lesser magistrates like quaestors and aediles, and also passed the laws. Then we had the assembly of the plebs, exclusive to the plebeians, and presided over the tribunes of the plebs. It could pass laws that initially applied to only plebeians, but then later to all citizens. We're talking about a government structure over 2,000 years old, right? And think about it this way, lads. At all stages, it's all about, you know, the people having a say in what goes on. Even though you have consuls up in the very, very top, and they, you know, they were the patrician class, the snobs, effectively, right? The highly wealthy, all this sort of stuff. They had control at the very, very top, but you know, the working man or the normal man.
Can I get a refund?
He had his own saying as well. Do you know what I mean? Hummingbird, no refunds. Are we in trouble? What have I done? Caesar's last words. Feck it. Brilliant. Anyway, checks and balances. This is what the Romans were mad about. The Republic system included checks and balances to prevent any single individual or group from gaining too much power. Magistrates had limited terms, and the principle of the office holders prevented unilateral decisions. The power of veto and the separation of powers among different offices were crucial aspects of this system. The structure of the Roman Republic was not static, it also evolved over time, especially as Rome expanded. The system began to strain under the pressure of empire, class conflicts, and the ambitions of powerful individuals, which eventually led to its transformation from the Roman Republic into the Roman Empire. Understanding the structure of the Roman Republic is essential for grasping the political context in which figures like Julius Caesar operated and how their actions impacted the course of Roman history. So that is what he's up against. At the time, Caesar, a young fella, and we're going to delve into him being a young fella. Hey, Hammy is here. Happy birthday, Warhamster. The crack, anyway, Rome, the Republic, it wants to expand, it wants to grow, right? The Senate, they're just kind of very enclosed, they kind of pull the strings, and even though we have all these offices and limited timings and all of this, well, evolution was needed, right? Evolution was needed because Caesar was, without question, an ambitious man, and there was many before him, there was many after him. But he had a certain kind of style or panache about him, a zany zest, if you will, that like just put him on the map. Let's learn about it. So, Gaius Julius Caesar. He was born on July the 12th or 13th, not entirely sure, in the year 100 BC in Rome. And he was born into the Julii family. The Julii were once the oldest patrician families, claiming descent from Ulus, the son of the Trojan prince Aeneas, a mythical figure said to be directly descended from the goddess Venus. Being born into the Julii family meant that Caesar had a prestigious lineage, which played a significant role in his early life. It provided him with opportunity and connections to the Roman elite. This lineage was a source of pride and political capital for Caesar, as he often emphasized his divine descent from Venus. He was basically a descendant of a god, right? A bit like myself. Do you know what I mean? Now, the Julii family up until this point, well, they weren't a prominent family. They didn't do much, right? Caesar's father, okay, he was involved in politics to a little bit, to some degree, but someone who, like, you know, goes back to the time of, you know, Venus, right? Or, you know, Aeneas, they weren't a big name. They lived in the suburba, or the suburbs. They didn't live in, like, high society Rome. They didn't have a whole lot of money. They were like a family that were just kind of there but weren't there. There was far bigger families at the time going around the place. Caesar's aunt, her name is Julia, well, she married terribly well. She married a man called Gaius Marius. And Marius went on, he was a legend in his own right. He was a consul for 7 times. 7 times a consul. What? He had a dream one night, you know, that he saw 7 eagles. You know, and of course he goes into the Senate. Listen, I saw 7 eagles, therefore that means the gods want me to be consul for 7 times. I mean, I wouldn't go messing with the gods now, lads. They were terribly superstitious. But anyway, Caesar's aunt married Marius. And we'll get into all this now in a moment. Who was Marius and who was Sulla? Because Sulla has to come into this as well. You had the consulship of Marius and Sulla, right? Let's have a listen. Marius's marriage to Caesar's aunt. A prominent military leader and statesman married Julia, Caesar's paternal aunt. This marriage connected Caesar to Marius, a significant figure in the Populares faction, which represented the interests of the common people against the optimates, the conservative aristocratic faction. Marius and Lucius Cornelius Sulla, a leader of the optimates, they were central figures in Rome's politics, and their rivalry deeply influenced the Roman political scene. Marius, known for his military reforms and 7 consulships, versus Sulla. He was recognised for his skillful generalship and eventual dictatorship, represented the polarising political and social divides of the time. Caesar's connection to Marius, through his aunt, positioned him on the popularity side, or the popularis side, of the political spectrum from an early age. This affiliation influenced his early political career and choices, including his marriage and his opposition to Sulla's policies. So, let's talk about Marius just for a little minute. Marius was the man. I'll be asking questions later. There's a quiz at the end of this. You better be learning and listening. Marius, here's something to take away. He was a military genius. He completely reformed the Roman legions. In actual fact, when Marius changed the numbers to a Roman legion, I think it was 5,000, that didn't change ever again. That was it. Poof, right, that's a legion, right? At the time, Marius could identify the biggest problem that Roman armies had was they had to have this massive trail, what do they call it? The mule trail to hold all the supply wagon. All the wagons had to follow the soldiers, which meant this was a problem because number 1, if it was attacked, they'd be shagged. But number 2, it slowed down their movements considerably. Marius said, sure, we don't need this. So Marius came up with a new law and he stated that each soldier will carry their full pack. They'll carry all the gear they need, their rations, their weapons, their armour, whatever. The soldiers had to carry it themselves. They were nicknamed as Marius's mules. They got rid of the supply trains, the baggage trains, and they had to carry the gear themselves. Marius also transformed the Roman legions into a professional standing army, where it wasn't just a case that you would, this honour to serve, you were paid to be a soldier. This opened the floodgates, meaning that ordinary men who didn't have money could serve in the army to generate wealth, but also climb the cursus honour, be it political or military. So it was genius, right? Genius. Anyway, himself and Sulla had a terrible falling out, and Marius died, and then Sulla said, right, didn't like what the Senate were doing at all, so he brought his army into Rome. This was sacrilege. You can't bring your army into Rome. That's what he did. And he made himself dictatorship. Now, dictatorship, being a dictator, was a Roman office. You had the office of dictator, right? And the Romans' idea was, the Senate would put one person in charge to sort out an issue. You're in charge. But it wasn't a permanent role. The idea of being, you suddenly jump into this political office, you kick ass for however long it takes, and as soon as the job is done, you walk away. You leave the gadget, right? Yeah, I've minus 43. There's a bug. There's a bug. We'll see what happens there. So that was the crack, right? So Sulla came back and he wanted to, and he did. He made himself dictator, right? And Sulla was nuts because what Sulla did then, he turned around and he said, right, well, my enemies, sure, I'm just going to kill them all. So he, this is famous, and this is where we get it from. They were called prescriptions. You don't go to the chemist for your prescriptions, not at all. Back in Rome, a prescription was Sulla wrote down the names of his enemies, for which there were hundreds. And he published these names in the forum, and to the normal citizen, if you kill this person and bring me their head, I'll give you their house and all of their belongings, which included slaves. So you can imagine what happened next, right? There was all sorts of crack going on. All sorts of crack going on. And that's what happened. Hey, Captain Gaiman! Happy New Year, man! Hope you're well. If I forget anyone in the chat, just shout at me, lads, because I'm reading and you know what I mean. Multitasking here like a boss, but failing miserably. We need to change our heading. There we go. Here we go. Okay. So we get the idea. Sulla came back, posted all these enemies, and people started killing them like mad. Caesar, because his aunt was married to Marius, technically made him an enemy. So Caesar said, balls, I'm in trouble here. Now, Caesar's father, his dad, he died when Caesar was very young. He died in 85 BC. Caesar was around 15 or 16. This event thrusted young Caesar into the role of being the head of the family at a very young age. His father's death had a profound impact, both personally and politically. He was now responsible for his mother, Aurelia, and his sisters, in a period marked with political instability. This responsibility may have accelerated his maturation and influence his early involvement in political and military affairs. The loss of his father's protection and guidance during the turbulent period in Roman history forced Caesar to rely more on his mother's family and the connections, including those with Marius. It likely played part in his decision to marry Cornelia, the daughter of Cinna, the ally of Marius, solidifying his ties to the Populares faction. So Caesar is now heavily embedded in the Marius camp, and Sulla is back and he's causing all sorts of genies, right? So what happened next? Caesar arranged, through his mother, a meeting with Sulla, right? Caesar's mother, because she had that name, you know, Caesar, Julii, she's part of that Julii family, and even his mother was able to say, we go all the way back to the god of Venus, or, you know, so don't mess with us or we'll burst you, kind of stuff, right? But she had a bit of political kind of pull. So she, you know, Sulla, you're having a chat with Caesar here and no more acting the right. So Caesar met with Sulla and Sulla said, this Caesar fella, yes, I'll entertain him. And he said, listen, I tell you what, I want you to divorce Cornelia and give up all your rights and I'll spare you. Now, remember, Caesar's dad had died, which had a huge impact on Caesar. He said, no, shag off. I don't think so. It's not going to happen. I won't divorce her. How'd you like them apples? And Sulla just got, fine, right, do whatever you want. And he excused him. He let him live. However, it was something that Sulla had said to the people who were, you know, in Caesar's corner. Sulla rolled his eyes and he said, I see many a Marius in that Caesar. That is the man who will bring down the Republic. Sulla knew the crack. He knew what he was looking at. Anyway, so that was grand. Caesar got away with it, but he couldn't stay in Rome because, well, for obvious reasons. So he said, right, I'm going to head away here now for myself, he said. And he did what every other young fella at that age did. He said, I'll go off and I'll join the army. I want to see the world. See the world. Join the military. And that's pretty much what he did next, right? So, I need to catch up. We seem to be heading for LRIQ, not LIRP. No, we're heading for LIRP. Then we turn right for LIRQ. And then we turn left for LIMA. Oh, wait, hang on. Look at this. Jesus, Murph. That's why I'm not in charge, lads. I'm only saying. Flight plan. LIMA. LIRP it should be. Oh wait, balls! Insert before, no, hang on. LIRP. No. LIRP. How do we... No. No. Hang on, Murph. Remove. Yes. Remove. Yes. Jesus. Could have been in trouble there.
We're going the wrong way.
Totally fine, lads. We didn't actually. Do you know what we did? We dodged a big mountain, look. That's all. That's all we did. We're now going the right way. It's totally fine. Nothing to worry about at all. We've got this, right? Navigating the place like Caesar would have. Who's this? Murph, you only had 100 things to do.
Who's in charge? You haven't a clue what you're doing.
It's grand. We're over there, you idiot. Oh, yeah. I see where you are now, look. There's the lads over there. I'm coming over. Stay where you are. Right. Never, ever read and fly. You know, that should be a feckin' health warning. Are we going the right way? We are now. Wrong way, Cardigan. That's all grand. It's all totally fine. Jesus. Coombsy, this is the A2A Akusim Comanche. It's beautiful. Anyway. Caesar's early military experience in Asia Minor. Wait till you hear this. So young Caesar said, right, his initial military posting was in Asia Minor, modern-day Turkey, where he served under the proconsul Marcus Mancinius Thermus. It's believed he was maybe in Crassus's army of the day. But anyway, this was during the Roman campaign against the Kingdom of Pontus, led by King Mithridates VI. One of the notable episodes during this period was the Siege of Mytilene in 81 BC, where Caesar displayed considerable bravery. For his act of valour in saving the life of a fellow soldier during the siege, Caesar was awarded the civic crown, the Corona Civica. This was one of the highest military decorations in the Roman Republic, second only to the grass crown, which was given for saving an entire army. What? Hey, Matt Raw, good to see you. Goes to catch up, gets distracted, classic Murph. Yes, it's a classic 2023 Murph. I love it. Epic fool. Happy New Year, mate. Hope you're well. Oh, that's fantastic. So anyway, wait till you hear this, lads, right? The civic crown. The civic crown was one of the most prestigious military decorations. It was awarded to a soldier who saved the lives of a fellow citizen. The crown was made from oak leaves. We see oak leaves all the time. We saw them on the Roman emblem. We also see oak leaves as a sign of peace. We also see oak leaves on the emblem of the United Nations. Oak leaves. Anyway, symbolizing strength and endurance. The choice of oak was significant, as the oak tree was sacred to Jupiter, king of the Roman gods. The crown represented civic virtues such as bravery, selflessness, and service to the Roman state. It was a mark of honour and respect. Now, this was great for the young Gaius Julius Caesar because in the Roman Senate, if a person who had been awarded the civic crown entered the room, all senators were required to stand up as a sign of respect. This act acknowledged the individual's bravery and their contribution to the safety and success of Rome. Holders of the civic crown were also publicly honoured. They were often given a place of honour in public ceremonies, and they were allowed to wear the crown at public and private gatherings. Recipients of the crown were granted certain legal privileges, including, in some cases, the right to speak first in the Senate after the magistrates. So a young Julius Caesar being awarded with this crown, I mean, that was the absolute get in there, right? People had to kind of shut up and listen to him, right? Oak leaves, yeah, Kozaki, mages have them. That's it. Interesting how one of the highest honours for a legionary was saving another legionary's life. Yeah, it's nuts, isn't it? It's nuts. Don't believe everything you saw on the telly. So that's fantastic. The conferring of the civic crown was more than just a military honour. It was a deeply symbolic and respected recognition in the Roman society. It underscored the Roman ideals of bravery, sacrifice and service for the state. For Julius Caesar, Receiving the civic crown early in his career was a significant accolade, contributing to his reputation as a courageous and capable leader. This distinction helped to establish his status among his contemporaries and played a role in his rising political and military career. So now he has it, right? He has the civic crown. He's an important fella. He's a friggin' war hero, right? But he's kind of lacking in the whole regard of the political offices, right? At the time, two famous orators, one being Cicero, the other being Cato, right? Cato the Younger. Anyway, Cicero, probably the greatest orator of all, in and around the same age as Caesar, he was schooled and studied rhetoric in Rhodes. So Caesar said, right, well, I'm going off to learn a bit of political jiggery-pokery. I'm off to Rhodes. So Caesar set sail for Rhodes. However, on his way to Rhodes, he was kidnapped by pirates. What? I mean, you couldn't make this up. Anyway, Julius Caesar was captured by pirates in and around 75 BC. It was during his journey to the island of Rhodes. At the time, Caesar was in his mid-20s and was travelling to further his education. The study of rhetoric. Caesar was en route to Rhodes to study oratory under Apollonius Molon, a renowned teacher of rhetoric. Rhodes was known as a significant cultural and educational centre during this period. Effectively, think of your highest, think of like the world's best college, right? Your Yale or Harvard or Trinity, or do you know what I mean? That's where he was heading to learn from the Greeks, right? Pirates, yeah. Anyway, it was known as the significant cultural educational centre during the period, attracting students who wished to study philosophy, rhetoric and other disciplines. After his initial forays into politics and military service, Caesar recognised the importance of oratory in public life. And, for a political career in Rome, his aim was to refine his skills under the master rhetorician. Sicilian pirates. At the time, the Mediterranean Sea, it was infested with pirates, particularly those based in Sicilia, a region in southeastern Anatolia. The pirates were notorious for attacking ships and taking important individuals hostage for ransom. While crossing the Aegean Sea, Caesar's ship was intercepted by the pirates. Recognizing his value as a member of a noble family, the pirates seized the opportunity to kidnap him for ransom. The incident of Caesar's kidnapping by the pirates is not just a footnote in his life. It's reflective of the broader situation in the Mediterranean. At the time, it is illustrative of his character. His response to the situation, both during his captivity and after his release, highlights the fearless nature and his ability to assert dominance in even the most unfavourable circumstances. Furthermore, his journey to Rhodes signifies his early commitment to developing the skills that would later aid his political and military career. The pirates initially demanded a ransom of 20 talents of silver for his release. Caesar, 20? For my life story, I'm worth at least 50. Caesar demanded that they ask for 50, no less than 50 talents, which is about 1.2 metric tons of silver, right? Anyway, Caesar sent a couple of slaves, go off now and get that ransom. There's a good lad, or lads. So he sent his slaves off. And during captivity, Caesar maintained a very unusual demeanour. He displayed a sense of superiority and command over his captors. He often jokingly threatened to crucify them. You know, when I'm getting out of here, I'm going to come back and crucify you. And they're all like, yeah, go on out with that, you mad thing, you know. Caesar used to practice his poetry and orating on them. In actual fact, the pirates came quite affectionate towards Caesar. They thought he was just a swell guy. He's brilliant. Caesar used to give out to the lads at night time. Keep it down. I'm trying to sleep. And they'd actually keep it down and let him sleep. Nuts. It was nuts. Anyway. Where was I? I was over here, look. Yes. He even took charge of the pirates. reading his writings, demanding silence. Oh, yeah. Okay, so once the ransom was paid and he was released, Caesar immediately organised his own fleet and pursued the pirates. He quickly captured them, took them to the shores and to the authorities in Pergamum. The local governor seemed hesitant to take immediate action, prompting Caesar to take matters into his own hands. He returned to the pirates in his custody and had them crucified, a promise that he had made during captivity. Now, Caesar, in a show of mercy to these pirates, once he crucified them, he slit their throats. That was a sign of mercy. They'd die quicker. Crucifixion, as you could have imagined, absolutely just horrific. Horrific, right? And there were two ways to show mercy. One of them, slit their throat. The other one was break their legs. So the body couldn't support the weight. They'd die quicker. That's right. Jesus. What happens in today's day? Oh, me eyelash. Or oh, me eyebrow. Back then. Crucifixion. Crucifixion's a doddle. It's not a doddle. Anyway. Just mad, right? So that was it. That shows, if anything, the genius, the brilliance, but also the savagery of Caesar. If anything, that's what it shows. I mean, anyone else in captivity of a pirate, I mean, Jesus, you'd be terrified. You'd be terrified. Not Caesar. Not a thing. No bother at all. So much so, he actually told them to shut up and, you know, he became fond of him. And he told them, when this is all over, lads, and I'm free, I'm coming back here to crucify you. What are you talking about? That's exactly what he did. Nuts. Absolutely nuts, right? Like, it's just bananas. How are we going now? Jesus, we're getting on. There's Fly Darren, look. This is brilliant. What are we like for... Yeah, we're all right. So, we continue on, right? We'll have a break now in a sec. But anyway. We're moving on now for the ambition for a military triumph. Caesar desired military glory, right? Military glory. And, you know, when he joined the army, when he got his civic crown, he knew, like, that wasn't going to be enough. Like, you need to be a hero. But if you stay with the military, if you keep attached to the military, well, you're kind of set all your sights, if you like, on one track. The triumph was like the biggest celebration you can get for military victory. But it would solidify you as a military leader or a great general. If you don't follow up on the political side, it means you'll only ever be this sort of a military genius. Think of all the military generals throughout time, you know, Mark Antony being one of them. He never really got into the political side of the house. Not really, right? So, political career was needed. As much as he wanted the military triumph, he knew he had to go down the political career. So that's what he did. Caesar, in 69 or 68 BC, was elected to quaestor, a public office with financial responsibilities, marking his entry into the high-level politics and the cursus honour. His service in Spain as a quaestor began to solidify his reputation. Caesar was also an aedile. In 65 BC, he was responsible for public buildings and organising games and festivals. Now, before his next post, just to give you a little bit of context here, Caesar, he knew how the game was to be played. If he was in charge of, you know, public festivals and games, well, he was going to make sure that these were the biggest, the best, the most lavish games and festivals you've ever seen in the history of anything that you've ever seen. He spent an absolute fortune. So much so, Caesar at the age of 30 was in debt to the tune of about friggin' $90 million back then. That's how relevant it would be today. And he wouldn't have that to rub together. He was spending the Republic's money, accumulating massive, massive debt, like on a scale of, holy Jesus, what are you doing, right? So for each kind of political ladder Caesar got to, the debt increased with it. But he had a master plan. He was elected in 63 BC as Pontifex Maximus, the chief priest of the Roman state religion. Now, you might have heard that name before, Pontifex. Didn't we hear the pontiff? We'll get to that. It was a highly prestigious position, giving him significant influence in Roman society and politics, and the Latin term pontifex, it actually means bridge builder. In ancient Roman religion, the head priest was called the Pontifex Maximus, the greatest bridge builder. Today, the Pope is known as the Great Pontiff, or the Pontiff. That's where it comes from, right? There's another one for the book, lads. It's mad, isn't it? What plane is that? Am I right? Am I right? There's a PC-21 right beside us, which looks beautiful. Absolutely stunning. So, the chief priest of the state religion, the Pontifex Maximus, was the head of the College of Pontiffs, the body responsible for overseeing the Roman state religion. He supervised religious ceremonies, maintained temples, regulated the Roman religious calendar, and oversaw the moral conduct of the priests. It also gave him legal authority, as Pontifex Maximus had jurisdiction over certain aspects of civil law, particularly those related to family law, which included inheritance and burial. Holding the office was a matter of great prestige and offered significant political clout, as religion and politics were deeply intertwined in Rome. Once appointed, the Pontifex Maximus held a position for life. This permanence gave the holder a stable and enduring influence in Roman public life. While primarily a religious role, the position often played a key role in politics due to the influence and respect commanded by Pontifex Maximus. Just to put this into context, Caesar, he's now the high priest, right? So if you wanted to pass a law and he wasn't too happy about it, he'd say, oh, JD, oh, I wouldn't be doing that now. Huh? What are you talking about? Oh, no, that doesn't sound like a good idea at all. Right? That's kind of where you get the idea from. Caesar was elected to Pontifex Maximus, defeating two other prominent candidates. Sure, it was easy. He bribed the council to vote. That's what Caesar did. And the victory was a significant step in the political career. He used this office to enhance his public image and to establish himself as a major figure in Roman society. This position added to his aura of authority and respectability. The role played a crucial part in Caesar's ascent to power. It solidified his standing among Rome's elite and provided him with a platform to further his political ambitions. How mad is that? Now we're nearly there. Then we're going to take a break. Spain and Alexander's statue. Wait till you hear this. Caesar was the praetor, there you go, after his consulship in 59 BC. Therefore, he was sent out to Spain. This is a critical period, allowing him to demonstrate his administrative and military skills, whilst also given the right to governor Hispania. This allowed Caesar make a lot of money. He owed a lot of money, so he can now make it. While in Spain, somewhere near Cadiz, Caesar is said to have come across a statue of Alexander the Great. Reflecting upon Alexander's remarkable achievements at such a young age. Here, at the age of 30, Alexander had conquered the world. Caesar, age 34, well, what has he done? It made him deeply upset. He howled and whinged and cried over this. However, it motivated him like you wouldn't believe. This reflection is often cited as the moment of profound introspection for Caesar, fueling his desire to achieve military glory and political power akin to Alexander. It is said to have played a part in his determination to embark on the conquest of Gaul. How nuts is that? Hey, Ultra Gaming, good to see you. Hey, Bellbro, good to see you. Welcome in, lads. Have you ever thought about reading bedtime stories, Murph? Jesus. So, we've covered a fair bit now, lads. These are great crack. So, that's where we're at. Caesar now, we've learned about, the history, a little bit of Rome, what the political environment was like. He did a little bit on the military side. He's now gone off to do the political side. Everything's going grand until he sees a big, massive statue of Alexander and he says, oh, bother, or words to that effect. I'm needed for greater things. I need to push on. I need to make something of this life and I need to do it fast. We'll next talk about Pompey and Crassus and how these two characters played such a role not only in Caesar's life but in the entire scheming of the Roman Republic. huge, right? Huge. So we'll get on to these two lads now in a moment. We're going to learn about Gnaeus Pompey Magnus, and we're going to learn a little bit about Marcus Licinius Crassus. Gnaeus Pompey Magni, known as Pompey the Great, right? And Crassus was, without doubt, the richest man in Rome, right? Are we?
Yep. We're going the wrong way.
We're slightly going the wrong way. Shut up, it's grand. Jesus, is it night time in the sim? Christ. Brighten it up there, will you? Who's in charge? Crassus was made, I won't say made famous, but you remember the story of Spartacus? The slave revolt. Spartacus. Well, Crassus was sent by the Senate to go down and, you know, get rid of that problem. And that's what he did, right? That's what he did. We've been out of electricity for more than 12 hours, Ultra Gamer says. I don't believe you. Caesar made the best salad after a long day of crucifixion. That's mad, isn't it? Hang on now. Is this screen working? I think it is. I think it is. We'll calm it down now for a little bit, right? Another day on Everything's Airways. Wait, Read Everything Airways. Is this screen working? Oh, it is, look! How's this for a screen? Why isn't that coming up, this stupid thing? Hang on now, hang on. Should be working. Why isn't that working? Fly now, yes. Fly now. Please select the aircraft. Huh? November 235. Yes. Right now. Right now, I think. Now we should be working. Why isn't me stuff working? I am Spartacus. So is my wife. Why am I not getting the stuff on the top of the screen, though? That's weird, isn't it? All the dials are working, though. Do you see? Do you like the fancy dials? Love your show from this side of the pond. Greg, thank you very much indeed. Enjoy your British banter and views. Thank you very much. The buttons aren't working. The stupid cursor buttons. Why aren't these working now? Hang on. Streaming. Yes. Chat overlay. Yes. Why aren't you working? Stupid thing. Wait now. Do I just close that and reopen it? Don't panic. Uh-oh. I've broken it. Or, no, maybe I haven't. What if I press this button? Let's see what happens now, lads. I'm 10 decibels louder. Yeah, I don't know why that is. We'll turn it down here a bit. I'm louder with this mic. I don't know why that is, lads. Very strange. Very, very strange. Restore flight. Now, why aren't I getting me streaming stuff? Streaming overlay. Overlay. Yes, the bot should be active. That's so strange. Why isn't that working? It was working earlier. Sim use only. Show streaming output folder. Yes. Overlay beta. Localhost overlay 2. Localhost overlay. That's weird, lads, isn't it? This should be getting a whole load of information up here, but it doesn't seem to be. How in the name of God could Murphy tape? We'll go in here. Let's just see if this works. So we're saying this one. It's kind of working, but yet it's not. That's going to wreck me haircut. Did someone give Murph permission to push buttons? No, but I had all this set up earlier, and now it's not working. Why is it not working? Config. Bot enabled. Turn off the bot here for a minute. Bot enabled. It was working on the last thing, but she's not working now. How do we reset that? Bum, bum, bum. Yes. That's strange, isn't it? Sim Toolkit Pro is having an issue. We just need to terminate. Murphy's Law, yeah. Sim Toolkit Pro, right? Yes. The code execution cannot proceed because the file wasn't found. Jesus. Sim Toolkit Pro. Let's try this one. Wait for it. Wait for it. Hold. If this works, I'm going to be delighted. If it doesn't work, I'm not going to be delighted. No. Wait, I know what's wrong. Don't panic. Hang on. I know exactly what's wrong. He's a genius. I'm a genius. Why isn't that working? Fly. Fly, you fool. Connect to sim, Murphy. Connect to sim. Yes. Yes. See, now we've things working up on top of the screen, look. How brilliant is this? Gibber's not here, that's what's wrong. Right, I was left to my own devices and look at it, I've nearly shagged it. But I think we're good now, lads, look. So this is the overlay I was working on a little bit. I hope you like it. So we can now see, you know, stuff moving across. Do you know what I mean? I think it's very fancy. Why ATC is there? Get away out of that, ATC, will you? This took me most of, well, earlier to fix. Show call sign. Oh, get rid of call sign. Yeah, we don't need call sign. Right, now, how's that looking, lads? And it's showing, see the flight length, yeah? Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. It'll absolutely go wrong. Oh God, it will. Fancy schmancy. Thank you very much indeed. See, I had to be busy with things. But the dials work, or the instruments, the avionics, they work. That took me friggin' ages to get them working. You might be saying, Murph, but how are you getting that? Shh. It's a secret. I can't tell you. Well, I can tell you, but, you know, the Praetor says for you to self-destruct. Uh-oh. But yeah. How in the name of God could Murph be louder? What are we on about? Huh? In general? No, look, I have on the screen, you can see avionics, yeah? I don't know what it is. Philip Foster says, somebody just called you British and you took no offence to it whatsoever. Don't worry. I don't take offence to anything. One chat is working, one isn't. That's quite okay. Ah, there we go. Yeah, I don't know. It's people in America, like Irish, English, you know, Europeans. Are we landing here? Yes, Pacelli, we are. We are landing here. This is Pisa. We're going to land here now in a moment. I just had to come over to this side. Did you see the R66? It's beautiful. Oh wait, is it out? Epic Fool, is it? Did they release it? That's a chopper I want to go flying in. But no, I just wanted to test this kind of a scene screen because, like, this is where I'm a little bit quieter. Seemingly that's where I'm a little bit louder. But it just gives us a chance if we are just kind of having an old chill out in a yap. It came out today, nice. If we're having an old chill out in a yap and we can have something on the screen so we can kind of keep an eye on the flight and that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? It's a genius. Absolutely genius. And a pint. Well, a pint as well. Now, let's go back here. Oh, I never turned... Yeah, I did. For a second there, I thought I didn't turn around the microphone. All is well. Right, lads, we're landing here. So what we need to do, autopilot needs to be turned off. Dish, dish, dish. Oh, Jesus, you turned off the wrong button. You idiot. I turned off me avionics. Don't worry about it, lads. It's totally fine. Right, here we are. We're going to do a landing over here somewhere. Yes. So autopilot is turned off. My airplane. And there's the airport over there. Ah, we'll make this turn. Of course we will. We'll make this turn, right? So our first stop of the night. Citizens of Planet Microsoft Flight Sim. Indeed. Hayden, good to see you. Okay, so bring the power back. Now the good news is, lads, we're pretty much halfway there. Alrighty. And the RPM is up. Now we're going quite fast, so we're going to put a little bit of an owl kind of a slip into the mix, right? Now what I want to do is mixture full. Watch your speed. Okay. Because you don't want to damage your plane doing this, and you can easily damage your plane, do you know what I mean? So we're going to put a now slip into the fray. Keep the nose up. Here's a slip. We're just bleeding off the speed here. There's 140 knots. We got her down to about 120. Then it'll be gear down and flaps down. Any pineapple in Pisa? I see what you did. Right, so there's 120. Bring the gear down. That's going to add all sorts of drag, as will the flaps. Right, now we're looking good. So we've managed to slow ourselves right down. Now we can do a fairly steep approach here, while hopefully maintaining our speed of about 110 miles an hour, right? Down the road we go. Now it's super steep, but sure, we're grand. We have a choice of runways here. I'm going to go for the one here on the left. There's 100 knots, and we're descending here at 1500 feet per minute. It's by using a slip. Very handy to use. This is our first stop of the night. Then there's a very short jaunt from here over to Florence, and then we hightail it up to Torino, or Turin. What's the speed? Electric Dreams, thank you very much indeed for the follow. Cheers, man. I need to turn back on sounds there. Why aren't they working? The lads in the tower have the popcorn out. Be grand. We know exactly what we're doing here. Put in exclamation point predict and then a figure, because this should be connected. Colonel Fork is here. It's good to see you. Happy New Year, Colonel Fork. If you put in exclamation point predict and then space and then a number, that'll predict how many feet per minute, because SimTulka Pro is working. There you go. Just do what Viper Strike did. That's the idea. Jesus, all the predictions. Okay, final approach. This is nice, and this didn't we fix that? Made it look lovely. And a nice gentle landing.
Can I get a refund?
No, shag off. There's no refunds. Predict 10. God almighty, Hammy. Well, let's see what we can do. Easy now. Easy. Oh, Jesus. Easy. 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 129. We'll have to take it. Nowhere near your 10, Hammy. Okay, a bit of breakage. Alright. Welcome to Pisa. This one is from AmSim, I think it is, or AmSim. I think we put some scenery for the entire journey. Beautiful. So our first stop of the night, and again, it's kind of following along how, you know, back then to travel this sort of distance would have taken days. The Romans were a great bunch of lads who were building the roads. The Appia, or the Via, they were called the Via. The road was a Via. The Via Appia, the Via Sacra, the Via Sanctum. There was loads of them, right? Lots of roads. They were big into the roads, the old Romans. The Romans, a great bunch of lads, right? Bit of mixture here, Murph. There's a wild wombat and a wild dougal. Captain Meowingtons is over there as well. So we're going to taxi along here to the left. It could have taken you days too if you hadn't fixed your flight plan. Kettle is on. Excellent stuff. Hey, LIRP Mega is here. Good to see you, LIRP Mega. Way low. Way low. Jerry from Big Jets is shouting, stop it. Alright, we continue on here with our taxi. And I press a button over here. And I think we're fine. I think we're fine. Right, so for our next part of the flight, we're going to go from here over to Florence. Now, bring back the time of day, because it got very dark very quick. We're going to bring the time of day up a little bit earlier, lads. How's that? The morning time. And how is everything looking? The visuals, how are we looking? I've actually tweaked some of my settings. And if you're happy with them, well, I'll share them with you. Anyone who uses the NVIDIA filters. Do you want to have a quick look? So my details, I need to update this now on whatchamacallit, over on Discord, right? Who is this? Brute Rider, thank you very much indeed for the follow. So what we have here, sharpen is now 50, clarity 9, HDR toning 33, and the bloom is set to 6. All right? They're the details. Next up, we have the colour. And tint and intensity, leave them alone. Temperature is now minus 15.6. I used to always keep that on 0. I brought it down a bit. 15 or 16, don't mind the 0.6 business. And then vibrance is at 14. So basically, I've made the thing look cooler. And then finally, exposure, contrast, highlights, shadows, and gamma. I think they're all pretty much the same. So they are my updated NVIDIA filters. I'll do a yoke on Discord with those. Black Eyes Gabe, if you're now be careful, because if you have hands like mine, hit alternate and F3, Alt and F3. So many airplanes, Dougal, isn't it wild? It's absolutely brilliant, and it's GA all the way, man. So many airplanes here. This is class. So we're going to depart from here now in a moment. And there's Fly Darren. We're going to depart from here and we'll do another count then, right? Iron Knob, good to see you. Patrick, good to see you. Murphy and his teeny tiny hands. Wait, what? Hail Murpheus Maximus. I absolutely adore Roman history. Well, when I say adore it, I'm just fascinated by it. I'm fascinated by Roman history, right? I like absolutely bore the ears of Mrs. Two-Tone when I like get me Roman stuff. Where are we going with this? When I start talking about Roman stuff. I don't have Roman stuff. It's not that kind of weird, right? Jesus, he's breaking out the gladius again. Wait, what? Speaking of which, the gladius, which was the Roman sword, that was every bit as iconic then as the AK-47 is today. I'm just saying. More lives were lost to the friggin' gladius back in the ancient world as they were with the AK-47 in the somewhat modern world. Mad, isn't it? Right. Roman emotes when? I will have to do it. He's breaking out the toga. Could you imagine? Right, lads. Time to go flying once again. So, a couple of things. Reset our barrow. Reset our directional indicator. I always wondered how the metal armor got in the sun. Oh, Jesus. You'd fry an egg off it. Do you know what I mean? Right, fuel. Yes. 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 Fuel is good. Right, lads. It's time to fly. So we've one notch of flaps. There we go. Mixture full. Power coming in. Takeoff power set. Speed alive. There's a terrible stutter. We're back. There's 60 miles an hour. There's 80. Yep, see Daisy. Gear up. Tap the toe brakes.
We're going the wrong way.
We're not going the wrong way. Look at all the planes, though. Fantastic, lads. Flaps in. What's next? Do you want Ancient Rome to be a thing of the sim? Nah. Gabe is in a H160. God almighty. Go handy, Gabe, will you? Right. Get the aircraft somewhat stable. Here's a short hop, this one, lads. Lima, India, Romeo, Quebec. Lima, India, Romeo, Quebec. Okay, as we circle around here, all is looking terribly well in the round. Bring the old power back, Murph. Don't be breaking it. So what we're going to do now, sports fans, is another count. Yes, it's another count. So if you're on the Xbox, press 1, PC, press 2, and if you're still here because it's a Monday night, well, you press number 3. Yeah, baby! DJing, thank you very much indeed. All right. The starters are out in force tonight, aren't they? Jesus. But anyway, right, we're going the right-ish way. We're just going to rumble over here to the left-hand side. And aircraft is behaving somewhat. Jeez, look at everyone taking off, look. That's class looking. Vision jets, 414s, Cessna 310s.
Hello there.
PA-24s, an MB-339. Awesome stuff, lads. Awesome. Thank you for following, Campy. You're very welcome in. Cheers from Italy. Hello from Ireland. Love your country. I love what you've done with the place. Right, so we want to head now. There's heading mode. Autopilot. Put some power in the box. Why is me fuel not doing the thing? Interesting. Okay, straighten up here now. Easy does it. Autopilot is ready. Stabilization mode. Altitude hold. Because we're getting some bumps here, aren't we? Now, yeah. Why didn't we transponder off? Oh, I turned off my avionics. Because you're a Muppet. You're a Muppet. Okay. Jesus, we're getting some serious starters here. We'll be alright. We'll be alright. Okay, heading mode. And altitude mode is already held. Christ, they look like the micro starters. They are the micro starters, for God's sake. Come on, Sim. Jesus. Right, we're going to have to land... Well, we're going to land here anyway, but we're going to have to restart the sim. Why did they come into the sim, like? Do you know what I mean? They were there, and well, they went, and now they're back again. Does anyone else have those issues? Comanche hiccups. It's not even the hiccups on the Comanche. It's like... The thing is shagged. You can synchronize it on the fuel payload page. Ah, right, okay. Jesus, the starters are absolutely crap. There we go. Really? Really? It's like total pause from the sim. It's terrible, isn't it? And there's no way to fix that, shouldn't there? Hey, Davis Everett is here. Good to see you, Davis. Smooth as butter. Yeah, I don't know what the story is. My sim is in an absolute hoopla. If I look at the FPS, it's probably reading fine, right? No, it's not. 14? 15? Jesus. I'm almost certain there has to be some sort of a memory leak now with the sim. Like, there has to be. Ever since Sim Update 14 came out, like, they just didn't solve the problem at all, did they?
Hello there.
The good news is it's only a short hop across. This is what you get with FSU IPC. Really? Say you, Car. Good to see you, man. Do I have FSU IPC running? No. I'll turn off GSX just in case that's doing an issue. Like, is there anything in the event manager or the task manager? And look, everything's running quite okay, look. Performance monitor. CPU is at 20%. GPU is at 30%. Like, there's no strain on the PC. It's just the sim. Turn off the Phoenix stuff. Turn off the Aerosoft stuff. Turn off the Mad Dog. This is just the sim working now, right? Sim Connect, not going to be that. Tis what it is, lads. Something's flooding the sim, yeah, shagged. Every time I try to take off, my plane flips over. I can't figure out why. Might have to call it a night. It just feels like one of those nights where it's one issue after another. No way! I had mine at 100 gigs and was stuttering when full. Now down to 16 gigs and it's running fine. What's that? What did you change? Rolling cache? I actually have rolling cache turned off. Like, this is the sim that's constantly pausing. And the only thing that fixes it is a sim restart. We'll try the rolling cache, but I don't think it is that. Data. Like, my rolling cache is actually turned off. We'll delete the cache, but I don't think it'll do anything. Apply and save. It's still stuttering. Yeah, it's the same. It's like that. It's the, what do they call it? The coherent GT thing. If it was a memory leak, how come we're all okay for the Vulcan flight? I don't know. What about turning off multiplayer? I doubt it. Okay, multiplayer's off. Let's give it a second. No. Still happening, lads. Yeah. I don't know, like, it happens on some aircraft. It didn't happen at all with the Vulcan. Like, at all. I think it's the Bing Map servers. Terrain loading causing stuttering. I see the stutters want to join in on the group flight too. Yeah, jump in. Tay, look, no, it's just the same acting up. It's really bad, isn't it? Okay, we're only 10 minutes away from we're only 10 minutes away from our next stop, so we'll horse it on over there and see. Although then again, you can't really fly like this, can we? Lads. Murph, I want to buy a hamburger. Wait, what? A hamburger? All the people started flying the same plane. Maybe it's the plane. Do you have a printer attached to your PC? No. No. No printer. Clouseau? Ped 414 Chancellor? Yeah, sometimes it happens. If I restart the sim, it'll be absolutely fine. No issues or worries whatsoever. Like, I tried to look at this before. I think it was something to do with... It is something to do with the sim trying to talk to Azure. My multiplayer didn't have stutters, but just didn't show other people. Same settings the last time. Oh, the video you tagged me in. Oh, wait, yes. I didn't look at it yet. But I will. I will. So Jammer says, I don't think the sim can cope with the speed of the 4090 even frame generation. This is because I see others having stutters. I don't even have frame generation turned on. I'm not using frame generation. Jesus. Right. Lads, you continue on to the next airport. I am nuking this sim and we'll restart. And we will start on the ground at Florence. Lima, India, Romeo, Quebec. That's where I may go. Do you have a USB device connecting, disconnecting? Negative. No, I've looked at it all before when it comes to this. Like, I'm not even going to wait for the sim. Like, just nuke it, Murph. Kill it. Because it's shagged. End the task. Shame on you. It happens. It just happens, lads. Nothing we can do. Happy New Year, flying for fun. Back into LIRQ mode. Enjoy the flight for the first leg. Sweet. Yeah, it happens, right? It happens. But sure, we'll just restart it. They'll probably say, your sim didn't exit. Goblin Zeus had 2 CTDs at the beginning. Interesting. Yeah, I've been lucky, like, touch wood. I haven't had CTDs now in a long time. I only have a 3090, but no stutters. That's a great card. Are you using a spindle drive? Spindle drive? As in, like, a conventional hard drive? I mean, the speed the card needs the frames to display. Oh, right. Yeah, I'm using a conventional hard drive for some of the add-ons, including scenery. That could be the reason. That could be the reason. Unlikely, though, because the speed of, like, a conventional hard drive, like, it's absolutely fine, you know? If it happens again, try opening dev mode, quick swap to a different plane to see if it fixes it, says Tailhook. Yeah, it's worth a try. From my own experience, though, it only turns out that it's something to do with timing and them sort of mad stutters that you see. It's something to do with either multiplayer or data coming in, you know. Baranko says, I loved Rome, love the ancient forum and the Vatican. Yes. Philip says, I started using Google Maps mod, but you can still use Bing if you don't want to use Google Maps. Yeah. Has its own cache, so you can switch that off in the sim. Made a lot of difference. Nice. HDD is not the issue, as I'm all M2 NVMe. So Dougal, all your drives are M2 drives and you still get the same issue, is it? Lee Dixon says, I think it's the same. Random as hell. Flew the Kodiak on Sunday, messing about. 70 FPS, no stutters. Same plane flying yesterday, and it was getting the same things. Yeah. Stutters might be caused by a lot of things. Too many USBs connected, GPU drivers. Delays. The problem is the sim and nothing else. It is the sim. Turn aircraft type off. Yeah, we could. I'm dark to see it. Shoot a bandit. LIRQ is where we're starting from. The last few GPU drivers are absolutely terrible. I agree, DeBlaze. Yeah, I agree. I've rolled mine back to November's, I think. But either way, it's the sim. It's the sim. Doesn't happen on other games. Doesn't happen to the PC. It's the sim. It's a Microsoft issue and an Asobo issue. So, you know, it is what it is. We'll just restart it and we should be grand. You know, trying to figure out what it is. I tried to kind of troubleshoot it before, and I went down the road of USBs. I went down the road of you know, XMP profiles, everything you can imagine. Now checked everything. You know, has anyone flown in the new Dash yet? Which one? No undies. The Dash 7. How long until the next stop? Well, the next stop is over to Florence, which was only like 10 minutes away. I'm going to start from there. And then the next leg is the final leg. That's going to take us about an hour. Maybe less. Maybe a little bit less. G Slayer said, restart didn't fix it for me. Uh-oh. That's not good. Like, if you restart the sim, you still came back in and it immediately went back to that stuttering? That can't be good. Jesus. It'll be single core CPU bottleneck, probably. Not much you can do. Well, I don't think it is. I don't think it is, because if it was bottlenecking, you'd be getting massive usage on any of your hardware monitoring. Even your task manager will show you what the issue was. Do you know what I mean? And it doesn't. Right, so we're going to start off here. And we're heading up to, what was it, Torino. LIMA. There we go. Hour and 40. Jesus, 174 nautical miles. We better go like the absolute clappers, lads. What do you reckon? Right, let's see what happens here. Who be this? Maestro, thank you very much indeed for the follow. That power lines add-on is such a liability when you're flying. No. Abana says, I don't think the sim has been the same since the last update. It's not 100%, is it? Patrick, come on, 100%. Join us. Join us, absolutely. What can you do? Like, sometimes it works flawlessly, does the sim, and sometimes it doesn't. It is what it is. We won't let it get bogged down. A good way to check for bottleneck is a website called Bottleneck Checkers. 7 months ago, my sim would crash when landing at Dublin Airport. Yeah, I remember that. Do you remember that? No, we'll see what happens here. What's my old PC running at? 56 and 47 degrees. Give it a second. Give it a second. Okay. Come on, sounds.
They've done studies, you know. 60% of the time, it works every time.
Right. Comanche. Cold and dark. Now we get rid of all this jazz here. The nav lights. Fuel should be exactly as we left it. Make sure I didn't break anything. Yeah, we're good. Right, and now if you have a look, there's 0 stutters. See? It's as smooth can be. Whatever it is, you know. But anyway. Let us get ourselves up and running. This is Florence, by the way. Beautiful airport over a beautiful city. And by the time you guys come in to land, we'll be just getting ready to boot it on out of here. So, let's have a look. We got ourselves set up. And what do we need here? Master battery switch on. Beacon light on. Mixture in. Fuel pump. Bit of priming activity. We're looking good. We should say clear prop. Clear prop. Come on, Betsy. And we got a good start. Okay, oil pressure's rising, temperature's rising. Avionics coming on. Do. We're looking good, lads. We're looking good. Alright, okay, so we'll just put in a direct 2 from here. Maybe it's already in, is it? Yeah, it's already in. 172 miles. We're going to travel at about 170. We'll go as fast as we can here. That's the plan. And let's have a quick look. We're looking good. We're looking good. Alright, so parking brake coming off. Now, transponder altitude reporting. Go ahead and turn that on. Here's the buys. Let's turn around here. Alright. Beautiful airport this, isn't it? I probably have a colony of birds living in my Comanche right now. Deadly. We'll see you on the next one, Iron Knob Airways. You take care. So many people. Rarely have issues when not flying with other people, even if the issues aren't multiplayer related. Yeah. Same as that. But sure, listen, we'll give it a blast and see what happens, right? Let's hope it maintains itself. We can always do a restart again if it goes kind of belly up, you know? There's fly down and fast peak coming in. Looking good, lads. Test pilot and vacuum coming in. See you later's inbound. It looks clear. No, it isn't. Who's that big boss? Psi 120. See the way they just appear, like literally over the threshold? They're all going to be like, Murph, what are you doing? Colonel Fork is in a Q9. What's a Q9, Colonel Fork? Okay, bunch of flaps. Get ourselves lined up here. Mr. Rich. Whack-a-mo, it's alright. No one saw it. Jesus. What in the name of Jesus was going on with poor El Whack-a-mo, you poor El Divil? No one saw it, mate, you're grand. Up the yard, Betsy. Here we go. It's all happening now, lads. It'll buff out, Whack-a-mo, don't worry. There's 85, yep. Positive rate, indicating gear up, tapping the toe brakes. And we continue on. Flaps in. Start our turn here to the left. All right. A global hawk, you say? The MQ-9 Reaper UAV. You're showing us like a TBM, I think. Cool. Alright, easy now, Murph. Easy. Now, as we kind of leave northern Italy, approaching the Alps. I mean, that's where we're headed for, right? An hour 40. We need to get our speed right up here, lads. Right up. Now, we will need to climb. So we're climbing, naturally enough. Go ahead and turn on our autopilot. And we need maximum speed on this. Autopilot is now ready. Activate. Our 2,000 feet. Let's go heading mode. We don't mind the little bumps, it's the big ones that we're worried about. Let's go high track. 2,500 feet, still climbing. Let's get our engine leaned out here as best we can. We want maximum power for this. Hey, Blue Eye Tom, good to see you. Okay, we're up on 3,000. I want 3.5 and then it's... Well, no, we want 4. And then we should be tickety-boo. Slowly but surely, coming up on 4,000 feet. We'll put in our altitude hold. And then we'll start ploughing on with our speed. That'll do. Altitude hold. And now get the speed up as high as we possibly can. Speed is coming up like a boss. $25 and 25. 170 indicated. We probably won't get a whole lot more than that. $175. That's probably as good as we're going to get it. Alright. We are absolutely booting it. Right, how do we help the situation? I think that's about it. There's no drag that I can see. We're giving it socks, lads. Look at this. Beautiful. Now we're crashing. Would a DA62 be okay? Yes, it would. 100%. Malton Aviation says, just bought the ATR-72. No idea how to fly it. Coming from Airbus. Do you ever fly that? Yes. Funny enough, the ATR it's based on the same logic as an Airbus, which you'll enjoy. But I'll do some flights with the ATR soon, dude. You need about 6,000, says 6 knots. Grand. We'll climb a little bit. We're probably about 40 minutes away from our next climb. Right, lads, moving on. We've more to talk about. So, yes, I left you with Caesar in Spain, having a gawk at the statue of Alexander, and I'm thinking to himself, Jesus, then, I want to be able to do a little bit more, right? So, meeting Pompey and Crassus. Gnaeus Pompey Magnus, commonly known as Pompey or Pompey the Great, was a key military and political figure in the late Roman Republic. His life was marked by significant achievements and a rivalry with Julius Caesar that ultimately led to his downfall. Pompey was born on September 29th in the year 106 BC in Picenum in Italy to a wealthy provincial family. He began his military career in his teens, serving under his father, Pompeius Strabo, a successful general and a consul. He was known as Pompey the Cross-Eyed. But anyway, the Sertorian War, gaining prominence in the Sertorian War of from 80 to 72 BC in Hispania, or Spain, Pompey showed remarkable military skills, earning the support of Sulla, the then dictator of Rome. So while Caesar legged it away to go off and get his military experience, Pompey was off doing his, but he was a friend of Sulla, right? How he got the name, if you like. How Pompey got the name of, you know, the Great. It came after his eastern campaigns, I think, which would have been out the Seleucid Empire. So Gnaeus Pompey was his name, and then Magnus. Magnus is the Roman or the Latin word for great, right? Hey, Johnny Advar, good to see you. In 67 BC, Pompey was given extraordinary powers to deal with the piracy problem in the Mediterranean. Interesting, considering Caesar was held captive. He organised a fleet, and within 3 months, he cleared the pirates from the entire Mediterranean Sea. Between 66 and 62 BC, he led a successful campaign in the east against Mithridates VI of Pontus and the Seleucid Empire, significantly expanding Rome's influence in the region. Upon returning to Rome, Pompey sought land and recognition for his soldiers, but he faced resistance in the Senate. Marcus Licinius Crassus, a notable Roman general and politician, famously known for his wealth, political ambition, and, of course, his role as forming the first triumvirate with Julius Caesar and Pompey. His life was a blend of immense financial success, military endeavours, and a quest for political power. Crassus was born around 115 BC into a wealthy and influential Liciniae family. He started his career under Lucius Cornelius Sulla during the civil war against Marius and the Populares. Crassus' support for Sulla during this period was a critical step in his rise to power. Crassus amassed a significant portion of his fortune through real estate speculation, particularly profiting from Sulla's prescriptions, where he purchased properties and executed enemies at auction. He also owned a large number of slaves, whom he employed in various enterprises. The fire brigade, wait till you hear this from Crassus. Crassus maintained a private fire brigade that would extinguish fires in burning buildings only after he negotiated a favourable price for the property. So let's say, for example, you're in Rome, right? And your gaff goes on fire. Ah, Jesus! Crassus would arrive. Hello there. And he'd have all his firefighters. Oh, Crassus, Jesus, great to see you. Will you put out me fire? And then Crassus would say, Salve, citizen. I shall, but I want to buy this building from you. How about, 10 talents? What? 10 for that? Are you mad? Won't haggle? And if you said no, Crassus would just walk away and bring his firefighters with him. If you said yes, he'd put out the fire. Not mad, isn't it? Brutal. Absolutely brutal. It's nuts, right? Absolutely nuts. Anyway, the slave revolt of Spartacus. His most notable military achievement was suppressing the Spartacus-led slave revolt in 71 BC. Now, despite Pompey being involved, Crassus was instrumental in breaking the back of the rebellion. The problem here is, though, Crassus went down because Spartacus and co, well, they got a great following. It was a massive slave revolt, right? And the problem was they were able to outsmart, at the time, a lot of the Roman legions sent to quell them. And the reason being is the Senate never really took them serious. So like, we'll send a contingent out there. Get rid of them slaves. So they're only slaves. Little did they know there was gladiators and warriors and, you know, Celts and Germans, the whole shebang were in there, right? Here's a good one. Hang on a second, I need to read this. What's Sunjammer saying? The Monty Python. Oh no, it was blocked, was it? Was Darth Vader there? No. I bring a message from your master, Marcus Licinius Crassus, commander of Italy. By command of his most merciful excellency, your lives are to be spared. Slaves you were, and slaves you remain. But the terrible penalty of crucifixion has been set aside on the single condition that you identify the body of the living person of the slave called Spartacus. There you go. It's been huge, right? It's like the whole revolt around Spartacus, and like the story of Spartacus, that's a totally other mission, you know. But Spartacus and Crixus, the two lads at the head of that. And anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, Spartacus. So he raised a massive army, some 70 or 80,000 slaves, and they were all up and down the countryside pillaging and having the crack. And anyway, the Senate said, right, enough. Crassus, get down there and sort that problem out. Right, says I. So Crassus goes down, and in order to get his legions and legionaries into, let's say, condition to fight this war against the slave army, what he did, 1 in 10 men, or it could have been 1 in 6, but I think it was 1 in 10. So all the troops are lined out, and every soldier who was number 10 had to take a step forward. And the other 9 had to utterly beat the crap out of him until he was dead. That was the way he punished them. Right? So 1 in 10 were killed of his own soldiers. And the idea being is that if you disobey an order, if you don't do exactly what you're going to be told, you'll end up like them lads. So by the time these Roman legions came face to face with Spartacus and his army, they were no match at all. The Roman soldiers were so tuned. They were so battle hardened and desensitized, if you like. They just went straight in and, you know, decimation, that's the one. Yeah, decimation, that's the one. So that's what they did. And Crassus absolutely destroyed them. However, Pompey, on his way back from Spain, got word of all of this. And Pompey, being the genius, the great that he was, he said, sure, I'll ramble down as well to aid and assist Crassus. So Pompey, on his way down to help Crassus, came across about 10,000 or so slaves who were breaking away and just running away. Pompey chopped them down. That was the end of them. However, Pompey got back to Rome first.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
P.S. Mirandai, thank you very much indeed. Hello there. Thank you for the sub, dude. So Pompey got back to Rome first, and everyone said, oh, Pompey, you're brilliant. You got rid of the whole slave revolt. That drove Crassus up the friggin' walls. He had such a rivalry with Pompey. He despised him. He despised him. Do you know? But that's just the way it was. Crassus did, however, harbour political ambitions, although his career was less distinguished than his financial successes. He wanted to be the political mastermind, but he also wanted to be the military mastermind. Formation of the first triumvirate. So, you now have Julius Caesar on his way back from Spain. He's proven his military worth. He's proven his political worth. He wants more. Crassus, the richest man in the empire, a billionaire of the day. He's no fool. He knows what an upcoming star looks like. He starts payrolling Caesar, guaranteeing his debt. Don't worry about it. If he defaults, I'll look after it. Pompey, the great military general, doesn't have the political wherewithal in order to get his objectives, mainly securing land for his veteran armies, because he promised them land somewhere they could retire to and live. He's not living up to his promise. The 3 individuals, they all have their own wants and needs, and yet no one individually can do it themselves. So they create an oligarchy. They sit down and they say, hang on, we need to sort this out. And hence we have the formation of what was known as the first triumvirate. By the late 60s BC, Roman politics were increasingly dominated by personal alliance and rivalries. The first triumvirate formed somewhere around 60 BC, was an informal political alliance between three of the most powerful figures in Rome: Julius Caesar, Gnaeus Pompey Magnus, and Marcus Licinius Crassus. From Pompey's position, Pompey was one of Rome's greatest military commanders, having successfully concluded several significant campaigns. However, upon his return, he found his efforts to secure land for his veterans and recognition for his eastern conquests ignored by the Senate. Crassus, with his influence and wealth, he was known as the wealthiest man in Rome and had a significant political influence. He sought military greatness. He wanted to have a greater military command and public acknowledgement in his role for suppressing the slave revolt. Then we have Caesar. Ambitious and politically astute, he was looking for a secure and prominent position within the Roman political system. He needed financial support and political leverage to further his own career. The triumvirate was formed out of mutual need and benefit, and Caesar brokered the deal, recognizing that aligning with Pompey and Crassus would provide him with the necessary support for his political ambitions. The agreement, initially held in secret, it involved mutual support from each other's political and military aspirations, including Caesar's election as consul in 59 BC and his subsequent command in Gaul. So Caesar and Pompey and Crassus, they've now all joined together. They've now all linked in, right? So Pompey, for example, he needs land. He goes to the Senate. I need this land to put me soldiers. And they're like, yeah, you're all right, thanks. Well, then Crassus comes along and he says, tell me, old boy, don't you need my money to, keep the Republic running? Yes, we do. Well, then give Pompey his land. There's a good fellow. So that's what happened, right? When it came to Caesar, I want to take control of Gaul. I want to be a proconsul of Gaul for 5 years. Because, I've taken a whole load of money out of friggin' Spain, and I owe billions upon billions. I want to get into Gaul. There's lots of money in Gaul. Put me in Gaul, will you? The Senate, no, you're not going to Gaul, you're mad. And then Pompey would shout up, Senate, do you know the way all of my veterans, all of my legions, well, you don't necessarily want them sitting idle and their sons sitting idle, do you? Might be a good idea to lend Caesar some men and let him work in Gaul. Oh, okay. Right? Anyway. Motivation for Gaul. So we're going to chat as to why Caesar sought command in Gaul, which should be fairly evident. He wanted the wealth, he wanted the military triumph, and he wanted the political immunity, right? So, lucrative opportunity. Gaul, rich in resources and wealth, presented an attractive opportunity for Caesar. The conquest and subsequent governance of Gaul could significantly increase his wealth through the spoils of war and taxation. Caesar has accumulated considerable debts in Rome due to his lavish lifestyle and political campaigns. The financial gains from Gaul were essential for settling these debts. In pursuit of glory, following the Roman tradition, military triumphs were a path to fame. Caesar sought to emulate the military success of his contemporaries like Pompey, and success in Gaul would establish Caesar as a military leader of the highest order, bolstering his standing in Roman society and politics. Proconsular imperium. As a proconsul, or governor, of Gaul, Caesar would enjoy immunity from prosecution. During his term, he could not be legally prosecuted, allowing him time to build his resources and his influence. Think about it. He's immune from Roman law while he's in Gaul, which means he can go bananas on the place, right? Also, an extension of his command. It was initially set for 5 years. However, it was later extended. The period allowed him to consolidate his power and plan his eventual return to Roman politics under more favourable conditions. Now, from the Senate's perspective, all this is going on. You might be wondering, but Jesus, why were the Senate so friggin' nuts, right? Johnny Ardrick says, I personally think the Romans have done a lot for us. So not my personal opinion to send them or anyone else home. Indeed. So like the Senate, you might be saying, why were the Senate so friggin' awkward and just, you know what I mean? I'll tell you. So, fear and suspicion. Many in the Senate, especially among the optimates, the aristocratic party, viewed Caesar's ambitions with suspicion and fear. They were concerned about his rising popularity and power. Caesar's growing power was seen as a threat to the traditional republican order and the authority of the Senate. Caesar had many enemies, and two of them in particular. Cato the Young, who was an absolute disaster. He hated Caesar in every possible way. Caesar had, well, he used to date Cato's sister, I think, Cornelia. That drove him mad, right? It drove him mad. But anyway, another rival in there would have been Cicero, the great orator. They just did not like what Caesar was doing. They saw him for what he was, some sort of a tyrant trying to make himself dictator or king. That's what they saw him of, right? Political tensions, right? The political landscape in Rome was marked by intense rivalries and factionalism. Caesar's actions and ambitions intensified these tensions. There were concerns about the legality and implications of Caesar's extended command in Gaul, and his actions were seen as setting a dangerous precedent for individual power over republican principles. They saw all of this coming and they were like, what in the name of Jesus? The Senate, led by figures like Cato and then later Pompey, took legislative actions to check Caesar's power, including passing laws aimed at limiting his authority and undermining his achievements. Caesar's motivation for seeking command in Gaul was a combination of personal ambition for wealth, military glory, and political security. His actions and the Senate's response to them were emblematic of the deep-rooted political and social divides in the late Roman Republic, setting the stage for the subsequent civil war and the eventual fall of the Republic. So, in 58 BC, following his consulship, Caesar was appointed as the governor of Cisalpine Gaul and Illyricum. Shortly after, the Senate also gave him Transalpine Gaul. That's Gaul on this side of the Alps and that side of the Alps. This appointment was the result of political manoeuvring of the First Triumvirate, specifically the influence of Pompey and Crassus. Gaul was a region of great strategic importance, acting as a buffer between the Roman territories and various Gallic tribes, as well as the Germanic peoples further north. As governor, Caesar had command over several Roman legions. This military power, combined with the vast resources of Gaul, significantly enhanced his status and influence. His proconsulship was unusually long, initially set for 5 years, but it was later extended. That gave Caesar every chance to raise as much money, fight as many battles, and expand as much territory. So, preparing for the Gallic campaigns. Caesar began to consolidate and reorganize his legions, preparing them for an extensive military campaign. He also recruited new legions, understanding that a need for substantial and well-trained force. Prior to the major military actions, Caesar engaged in various diplomatic efforts with local tribes in Gaul. These efforts were aimed at establishing alliances and understanding the complex network of tribal politics. See, at the time, right, if we were to view Rome, right, and at this stage, pretty much all of Italy was inside the Roman sphere, right, because Rome, they were the Latins. They were before all of Italy, but all of Italy at this stage were now Roman, right? Gaul itself, it wasn't a single government. It was made up with many, many tribes. Many tribes. High chiefs and low chiefs and kings and divils all over the shaggin' shop. Lots of them, right? So you couldn't just march into Gaul and say, right, I've taken the whole place. You had to deal with many people. And Caesar, making alliances with some of the Gauls, would have been along the lines of Roman territory. For example, if Caesar rambled in too far, well, he's going to need a resupply, or he might need a way out of there. You know what I mean? Bunker Monkey, thank you for the follow. Togas will be next week, yeah. So Caesar trying to like get into this entire region, you couldn't just deal with one head of state or one government. You're dealing with lots. So you kind of had to work your way around, you know what I mean? We're going to need more altitude here. So, up you divil. So, the Gallic Wars began in and around 58 BC, right? And we'll get into that next week because Caesar's first action in Gaul came up against the Helvetii. They lived somewhere in and around Lake Geneva. And how Caesar got wind of this, or how he knew this was going to happen, the Helvetii, a massive tribe, some 350,000 of them, were constantly being harassed by the Germanic tribes, constantly under threat. So the Helvetii said, right, check this for the game of soldiers. We're moving out, lads. So they would have been in this location up around here. And they said, right, well, we can't have this. What we want to do, we want to find new lands. And sure, isn't this part up here awfully nice? Beautiful scenery and the weather's a little bit warmer. Yep, I think we're going to head down here. So you had a mass migration of people. Huge. And Caesar said, you what? Where are you going? You don't want to do what? You're not coming in here. So the Helvetii send a whole load of diplomats to have an old chat with Caesar. Hello, Caesar. Good to see you. Yes. Listen, would you mind terribly if we were to ramble down and, you know, do our thing? We're trying to relocate here. Would you mind terribly? And Caesar said, let me get back to you in a week or so. The Helvetii at this time, well, they felt pretty good about things. So much so, the Helvetii, they were so convinced that they were leaving their homes. When they left, they actually burnt down all their villages and towns. They burnt them to the ground. The idea being is there is nothing left to come home to, therefore we must push on. Anyway, they thought, what's Caesar going to do? Build a wall and not let us in? Well, a week later, Caesar built a wall and wouldn't let them in. He built a massive wall, 10-mile wall, not to let these lads in. So they all said, in the Helvetii equivalent of, balls! So they said, right, we'll go another way. So instead of going down into Roman territory, they said, sure, we'll head down towards the south of France, somewhere around kind of, you know, modern day, what's down here? Kind of Provence, maybe, just this, roughly this neck of the woods here, right? So the migration started. Off they went on the Meriel way. And Caesar, who needed a casus belli, he needed a reason to engage in military combat. He had to have a reason. You couldn't just go in because then you'd look like the aggressor. Well, the Roman allied tribes in the area said, oh, there's about 350 big hairy fellas coming down here. Caesar, yes? Would you mind terribly if you were to assist us? And then Caesar being Caesar, what's that? You want me to come into your lands with my legions to protect you? You want me to do that? Yes, please, Caesar. This sounds like a great idea. Caesar had his casus belli. Happy New Year, Oggy. Good to see you, man. Salad, anyone? My neck of the woods, Goblin Zeus. Absolutely. So Caesar now had his casus belli. He had his reason. He had his justification to get involved in combat. He can now go to war with the Helvetii, right? Incredible stuff. So, we're over here. Oh yeah. So, Caesar's campaigns in Gaul were characterized by rapid movements, decisive battles, and strategic diplomacy. His military acumen was evident in his handling of the different Gallic tribes and the Germanic invaders. The success in Gaul greatly elevated Caesar's stature, making him one of the most powerful figures in Rome. Now, during this entire series, we're going to be looking at each and every part of the Gallic Wars, right? So this week is an introduction. It's to give us an idea of who, what, where, when, and how, and why. And I I haven't bored you all to friggin' death, but I hope you are now, yeah, we have an idea of what's going on, Murph. Right? That's the background to what we're dealing with now. All right? Next week, we're going to be looking at the Helvetii themselves, the first challenge as we cross the Alps. Our flight tonight just brings us to Torino. We need to cross the Alps. So we focus on Caesar's confrontation with the Helvetii. The flight spans the scenic Alpine regions of France, Italy, and of course Switzerland, offering a glimpse of the challenging terrain that Caesar's legions had to face. After that, we're going to be looking at the Battle of Bibercat. That was where Caesar overcame the Helvetii. And then he moves on, rubbing shoulders with the likes of the Germans, then later the Veneti, then he gets into Britain, and then the whole thing. It's pretty cool. A lot of Roman stuff remains in my region of France. Just so much of it. Dan 1878 says, very informative. Nice. It's class, like, when you think about it. And like, I have a whole ton of notes on this. I don't know if anyone's interested in them. Like, it's, I think it's like 26,000 words. It's about 26,000 words that I've wrote, right? And I'll show you here. Look, you have this sort of crack, right? So that's the way I kind of break everything down. And then I go on further because this is where my actual, stuff is. So there's a lot of stuff. So if anyone's interested in this, I'll make this available when the whole series is complete, if you like. There's a ton of information available online. Knights have sent me over some really cool books I've read into as well. Mrs. Two-Tone has done a ton of research into this. Like, it's just, I love Roman history. That's kind of where I'm at. And it's fascinating. Like, some of the stuff they do, it's just fascinating. Do you know? Yeah, turn it into a book. Yeah, I think the stream should be worth some sort of college credit. Right, I have a Roman bridge at less than 10 kilometers from me. No way. MDA says, love history. Nice. Yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it? And like, there's movies and there's a great TV show, Rome, naturally enough. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So like, Julius Caesar, this dude, he's now on his way to Gaul, and that's what our flight is. Our flight tonight is symbolizing Caesar's initial movement out of Rome into Cisalpine Gaul, right? Now, a journey like this would have taken somewhere in the region of about 15 days. It's around foot, right? And Caesar, with his legions, predominantly foot soldiers, he also had cavalry, right? And Caesar was a devil for hiring mercenaries, local soldiers. He had a lot of money, don't forget. He was backed by Crassus, Pompey was there in support as well, if ever needed. So when we're in this region here, which is Torino, we'll be crossing the Alps. Next week, we're all in and around Lake Geneva. We're all up this neck of the woods here. Because the Helvetii were from this region. That's where they were based. And they were on the way out of there. I think the Swiss still have Helvetia on their stamps. No way. And on that note, I've got to hit the hay. Dan, you take care of me, dude. Ryan says, I live almost right on the remains of the Antonine Wall in Scotland. That's awesome. That is awesome, dude. Trajan's Wall. Helvetica is used. I've used that before. I've used that font before. Helvetica. Yeah. Like, I suppose the interesting thing when it comes from the Swiss, or the Swiss tribes, there were similarities. You know what I mean? Like, Caesar was able to, not only Caesar, but like Rome at the time viewed the Helvetii as an ally because, well, they were a natural buffer between Rome and the Germans. And the Germans were feared. Wow, look at Jojo and Wombat there in PC-21s. Class looking lads. Sweet. Look at the scenery here now. Look, like, imagine having to traverse this back in the day. Like, isn't it just frightening? Hey, Rolly Mal is here. Good to see you, Rolly Mal. Happy New Year, dude. Hope you're well. So, like, the Romans, you know, if you're talking about the construction, be it with the arch and everything else, the Romans used a very famous method that was actually lost throughout time, and it didn't actually reappear until Victorian Britain. And that was concrete. And the Romans had a very special concrete because they used a local agent, if you like, right? Volcanic ash and sand. It was called tifosi, and the pozzicana. And they put that into the mixture of making concrete. It made the thing waterproof. It made it waterproof and incredibly solid. Marseille was called Massalia, or yeah, Massilia. Massilia would have been. Very close to a place called Mediolanum. I got on Italian radio when I was on Turin. You serious, Keane? How'd you manage that? Could they understand you? Sunjammer says we have a rebuilt Roman fort down the road made by staff in Roman armour. No way. Today's concrete can't compare, I've heard. A lost art. I think so. Verconium. Just up the road from me in Shropshire. Nice. Marseille was a city allied of Rome, it was. Yeah, waterproof concrete. It was something about what they put in the mix. Can't recall what. It was the pozzicana, which is the tifosi and pozzicana, I think, or pozzicalana. It's one of those words. I'm not a million miles off it, you know, but that's what they put in it. Now, what's my alt? Just over 6. Good man, 6 knots. You were bang on. Right, lads, we are about 25 minutes out. Let's see, can we squeeze an extra few miles out of this? It's probably mixture we need to fire in now. Too much, too much. Easy now. It's all about getting the thing right. You can go by sound or you can go by what the EGT is doing. See the RPM jumping around? So we're leaning too much. So our speed is good. About 25 minutes out. We're doing alright. I was interviewed in Italian radio during Eurovision week. No way! I read that analysis today is giving us an understanding of how to make concrete like that the Romans made. Yeah. It sets underwater. That's right. They use volcanic ash. Yeah. What's the name of it? Roman volcanic ash and concrete. Roman volcanic ash in concrete. I think it's Pozzolana. Pozzolana it's called. Pozzolana or Pozzolana. It contains both Sicilia and alumina, which provided crucial for a chemical reaction. When salt water comes into contact with ancient Roman concrete, a chemical reaction happens between the pozzolana, lime and salt water to create a rare crystal called tobermorite. Mad. I had to lie about how good Ireland was. It's a superb technology. Most of the Colosseum is Roman concrete. Yeah, I know it is. And here's the gas thing. Like, concrete, like, after the Roman Empire fell, concrete wasn't used again for hundreds of years. It was forgotten about. I'm not saying, like, you didn't have concrete buildings, but it would have been more kind of mud and stone. Concrete, like the Romans used, really didn't get back on the scene until Victorian Britain. It's nuts. Goblin Zoo says, one of the biggest battles against barbarians is near Aquae Sextia. It's near Provence. A name meaning cemetery, named after General Marius. Ooh. So, next week's fixtures, the Romans are away to Helvetii. The Helvetii will have the home advantage, of course. Can the Romans do it on a cold, wet Monday night in Gaul? Who knows? But it's interesting because the Romans did something different than any other civilization before them, right? And we all know the fancy words, you know, Vendi, Vidi, Vici, I came, I saw, I conquered. Well, the Romans did. They came, they saw, they conquered, but then they assimilated. No one had done that before. The Romans actually assimilated other tribes and cultures into their own. they adopted the other gods, these pagan gods. They adopted, yeah, come on over, sure. We don't really care. You're Roman, you can have your own beliefs, but you're Roman, right? Until the Borg, yeah. But like, of the enemies Rome had, and it had a lot of enemies, right? The Romans were the Borg of their time, 100%, Stav, 100%. The biggest hatred the Romans had were through the Carthaginians. What was it? Vinda Vidi
Hello there.
Eact. What was it? I forget the word. Carthage must be destroyed. Carthage must be destroyed. Where is it now? In Latin. Carthago delenda est. Carthage must be destroyed. A phenomenal whatchamacallit them? Them fellas who find things. Thank you for the follow. Carney, good to see you, man. What are they called? You know, do you know the lads I'm talking about? They dig up ancient things. What are them lads called? Not architect. Archaeologist, isn't it? Yeah, archaeologist. Thanks, stick figure. Yeah, archaeologist, right? Jesus. Archaeologists, right? Women. Professor Siege, good to see you. He says, Murph, Alexander the Great assimilated as well, but the big grab on the Romans assimilating is the Greek gods into their own and renaming them. Yep. The Romans loved the Greeks. Loved the Greeks. They looked up to the Greeks. Most Roman nobles went off to learn Greek. And that's why when we're saying, you know, the famous thing said, you know, A2 Bruti, and you, my son, and you, Brutus, right? That's seemingly what Caesar said on the Ides of March. But unlikely he said that at all, because more than likely he spoke in Greek. That's what it was. Like, when you think about it, lads, right? We talk about how, you know, how Roman art, architecture, their language, their culture, how it's still very evident and very loud, if you like, in our world today. It's quite fascinating. 2 months in our calendar, apart from Julius Caesar's calendar, which was changed in the 1800s ever so slightly, it was tweaked. Caesar changed the calendar. That's the calendar. It's the calendar rather that we use today, and it was only a small little tweak done in the 18th century, I think. But how many people do you know have months named after them? That's where we have the month July. It's named after the Julii, Julius Caesar. If it's not the Greeks, it's the Chinese he's after. Time Team, yeah, that was brilliant. And August, the month August, is named after Augustus, Caesar's adopted son. It's pretty cool, right? I heard the story, the Ides of March and all this sort of jazz. Carthage is where the family of Pompey Africani came to power in Rome. Yep. Like, if you go back far enough, from the foundation of Rome, you know, did you ever hear, like, the Sabine women? Did you ever hear that story of the Sabine women? That's where it all started. When Rome was set up, right, Romulus, sure, there were a whole bunch of lads. There was no women there, right? So they said, sure, we know how to get a few women. Sure, we'll just steal them. So Romulus and the lads organised a big party, invited over all the tribes, and, you know, when the clock hit 12 o'clock, they said, right, let's steal all the women. And that's what they did. They stole all the women. And all the other tribes tried to fight and whatever else. The Sabines, they ran away, but they schemed on how to get their comeback. And a couple of years had passed, and then the Sabines came back to say, right, we're going to take our women. And when they got to Rome, they wanted to have a big fight, and their daughters who were kidnapped came out to say, whoa, listen, it's grand. Sure, we're married and we've kids now. Don't be fighting. Can we not just all get along? And that's pretty much what they did. Sounds like a Saturday night in Tip Town. Yeah, that's the one Black Ice gave, yeah. It was called The Rape of the Sabine Women. That was it. I believe all the months were named after Greek gods. Yeah. But not July or August. Octavian. Now, there was a sneaky one. Octavian, absolutely. Later adopted by Julius Caesar and then renamed or named as Augustus, the first emperor of Rome. Name was named after my auntie, so she says. Flight Aaron. Brilliant. No, like, it is fascinating. Why do we have an ETE of an hour? That doesn't seem right, does it? Oh, wait, hang on. Sure, I'm going away from the place. I never updated it. LIMA. LIMA. Dashboard? Live map. Diddly-did-do-do. Are you right there, machine? That doesn't seem right, does it? Disconnect. Connect to flight sim. Connect. Live map. This is interesting. Where are we now? Now we're sucking diesel. 18 minutes according to the map. Yes. Murph, have you read I, Claudius? I can recommend it. I have. The French Revolution wanted to change the month names, but it did not succeed. Here's the thing. Napoleon followed Caesar like you wouldn't believe. Mussolini followed Caesar. Hitler followed Caesar. They all followed this genius. The name Caesar was adopted throughout Europe. Later becoming Tsar and Kaiser. They mean Caesar. That's how influential this guy was. Do you know what I mean? Fascinating stuff, though. It's beyond fascinating. Where's this we're looking for? It's very windy tonight and I have to put out the bins. Jesus. Yeah, Tsar. As in a Russian Tsar. Do you ever hear like Tsar Peter the Great? Named after Caesar. That's where they got the name. Born between the Ides of March and St. Patrick's Day, day before brutality, day after everyone gets drunk. Wonder what that really means. There you go. Did ancient Rome have pizza? The ancient Romans wouldn't have recognised the pizza we have today, not least because the tomato wasn't introduced to Europe until the early 16th century. But they did produce flat bread topped with cheese, honey fruits, dates and figs, nuts or vegetables. Oh yeah. The fall of Caesar is a universal story. Beware if you have too much power. Yeah. In Rome, Caesar basically meant emperor. So Caesar Augustus, the guy who used to be Octavian. So every emperor after Augustus had Caesar in his name. Augustus, for example, was known as Gaius Julius Caesar Augustus. They all adopted the name. It's mad to think how the Romans affect the modern world in an unexpected way. Think about it. Our law, the language used in law, still there. You know? Like the Senate, the Irish Senate, the British Senate, the US. You look at the Democratic Republic that is, or Democratic, the political republic. What do they call it? It's like a Democratic Republic, but the American government, for example, the British was based on like a monarchy. What do they call it? A monarchy republic, or a whatever it is. Constitutional Republic, that's the one. It comes back to what the Romans did. Heavily influenced. Yeah, it's Constitutional Republic. Yeah. Caesar should be pronounced Kaiser. Well, depending on where you're from. We have a Senate in France. You do? So military training is still based on Roman strategy. Riot training, for example. Riot training. If anyone has done military or law enforcement, riot training is based on what the Romans did. The shields, it's Roman technology. Or Roman warfare, if you like. What's the word I'm looking for? It's Roman strategy. The whistles, when they blast a whistle, the whole idea, and this was all done by Marius, the idea of having, say, 3 deep in a line, 3 ranks, 3 rows of guys, the idea would be the first wave or the first row, they'd kick the shite out of the enemy for about 10 minutes, blow the whistle, then the second line would move and go up to replace them, and the guys at the front would now move to the back, meaning the lads who were second and third now become first and second. That was all done by whistle blasts. Methodology, that's them. UK Parliament is a constitutional monarchy. There you go. We have tons of German words that are derived from Latin. 100%. The tortoise shield, yeah. It was known as testudo. That was one of the manoeuvres that they had. Testudo was forming a tortoise shield, effectively making that legion, or smaller contingents of it, into the shell of a tortoise. That's what they used to do. Just look at the movie Zulu. There you go. Murph, have you looked at or reviewed the Learjet? Or the flight simulator Learjet, the 35A. We've had a look. Kaiser roll goes good with Caesar salad. I had a Kaiser roll once, right? Kaiser roll, that's what it's all about. I just think, like, if we were to say, right, how many things are still relative today because of the Romans? Right? Roman things still. So, Roman inventions even, right? Roads. Central heating. The Romans came up with central heating. In actual fact, they come up with underfloor heating as well. The calendar. Without the Romans, we wouldn't even know what month it is. There you go. Flushing toilets and sewers. Sewers are a big thing. Yeah, aqueducts. The aqueducts. Right? Crop rotation, pruning, grafting, seed selection, and manuring, even in farming, all came from the Romans. It's just mad. Art and architecture are still there. Like, you think of their engineering, the archway, like, unbelievable. The use of Latin words is not the only way ancient Romans have influenced the Western justice system. Although Roman justice system was extremely harsh in its punishments, it did serve as a rough outline of how court proceedings happen today. For example, there were preliminary hearings, much as there is today. There were magistrates. They decided whether or not there was actually going to be a case. If there were grounds for a case, prominent Roman citizen would try the case, and witnesses and evidence would be presented. Roman laws and the court systems had served as the foundation for many countries' justice systems, just as the United States and most countries in Europe. Mad, isn't it? Sound like thing the Irish invented. The Irish invented all of this. Without the Romans, I wouldn't be able to count the days to the Eurovision. There you go. Oh, the Mayans had calendars, of course they did, but the calendars that we have today, today's calendar that we have, which sets the world in 365 days a year, right? And then having a leap year every 4 years. That's what Caesar brought in. What have the Romans ever done for us? Yeah. Trying case in the forum was also something that I'm pretty sure Caesar did. Yes, Sterling, especially when he was younger. That's what made him popular, because he'd always go and represent the underdog. Without the Romans, we wouldn't have toast. Roman sayings, right? Like the wedding ring. The wedding ring, Roman. The concept of marriage, Roman. Carrying your wife over the threshold, Roman. These are all Roman things, right? 15 phrases we still use today from the Romans. The Romans. Well, we have crossed the Rubicon. So, alea iacta est. That means the die is cast. We knew that. Alter ego. Alter ego. The other I. A different person with a completely different personality. Alter ego. Where is that now? Seize the day. Carpe diem. Cave Canem. Inscription was first found in Pompeii, the Roman city that was buried after Vesuvius erupted. Beware of the dog. Beware of the dog. Right? The phrase, where is it now? Descartes' fundamental proposition of Western philosophy become the most famous statements in history. Cogito ergo sum. I think therefore I am. That's mad, isn't it? Veni Vidi Vici, I came to Saul Conquered, that's an old one. We can probably get lost on this, and again, it's you kind of that's the biggest challenge I have, and Mrs. Teuton has as well, right? When you go off learning about anything, Roman history in particular, you can't just go with the first thing you see, or the first thing you see. You have to back it up, and like of all the history that we have, there's still different opinions on a lot. Like Caesar, for example, it was said that he had a terrible affliction. Some put it down to epilepsy, some put it down to some sort of diabetes, perhaps. Other people say he was cursed by the gods. Now, let's think about it. He probably had some sort of form of epilepsy because he used to have seizures. Have seen the beware of the dog. It's awesome, yeah. A famous Roman saying is, I man eat it. Descartes' Latin phrase, not the Romans phrase. Yeah, it's more, yeah, well, Latin, you know. Even the name Latin, it comes from the Latins. Yeah, Descartes, you're right, that was like, that's Middle Ages. That's kind of 1700 stick figure, 100%. The Mary Beard programs are great for Roman content. Yes, meet the Romans with Mary Beard. Highly recommend those. Highly recommend those. They're brilliant. There's a few others as well. There's, what was it? Civilizations by Richard Miles. That covers pretty much all of them. But Mary Beard is very, very good. One Roman general said, if you want peace, prepare for war. I heard of that before, yeah. Buyer beware. Oh, nice. Say not always what you know, but always know what you say. Tiberius, Claudius, Caesar, Augustus, Germanicus. Good man, paparazzi. See the names that they kept? All the emperors kept their names. Learned some Latin at school, not very well to be fair. It's taught through the storybooks as it is a dead language and included reference to the little house on the corner, so I had to visit them in Pompeii. Another crowd just as interesting as the Romans at the Portuguese conquistadors. Yeah. They actually had a name for Portugal back then. It was known as Further Spain. I'm unsure what the Latin word was, but it was known as Further Spain. Isn't that nuts, isn't it? Further Spain. Brilliant. Like, European history, and it's freaking fascinating. Like, from the Greeks to the Romans, like, Jesus, lads, there's so much stuff there. The Roman stuff for me is just, it's incredible because for me, you know, they tick all the boxes in terms of their military might, their political might, all of that kind of stuff, you know? And they never really bothered with Ireland. I mean, sure, why would you? There'd be no match for this, lads. Do you know what I mean? Lusitania is the Latin name for Portugal. No, they had a different name for it though, Viper. Like Hibernia, Caledonia, Britannia, Hispania, Latinum, do you know, all these names, you know. Roman name for Portugal. There was another name. Further Spain. Because the boundary of Portugal obviously was different back then, yeah? Hispania Ulterior, that's the one. Hispania Ulterior. That's where Caesar was posted to. Hispania Ulterior. Extending to all of Lusitania, which is modern day Portugal. So that's what they went for. CV Pacem Parabellum. Colonel Fork, that looks... I want to be sure exactly what I'm reading, but that looks terribly, that looks terribly familiar. If you want peace, prepare for war. That's it. That's it. It's class, isn't it? Also, you're 5 minutes out. Yes, we are. Top and drop. Yes, we are. Right, Murph. Where is this exam you mentioned before? You have your notes. Brilliant. The Romans couldn't care less for Scotland. Well, that's why they built a wall. Like, think about it. Rome had 7 hills. It had 7 kings, right? Well, it had more than 7 kings. It had 13. But you know what I mean? Pack a pistol for the colonel. Portucalis, the Greek word for orange, comes from the name Portugal, where oranges were imported. Nice. They built 2 walls to keep us away. They did. Johnny Ardvac says, what I love about having to learned Latin a little is just identifying references to words within words. That's got to be awesome. Did they let the Scots pay for it? Jesus. No, they didn't. But they should have. Because that would have made total sense, wouldn't it? Could you imagine them? We're going to build a giant wall and you're going to have to pay for it. Marseille had been founded by the Greeks 2,600 years ago. Jesus. Right. Look at the cut of this, lads. We are very close to our destination. 3 minutes out. Are we enjoying this flight so far? It's probably... like tonight especially is information overload because it's the introduction. It's to gear up the whole thing. As we go on, it won't be as heavy. My mic had enough. No, I had to turn it. I have to turn my microphone. Like next week, the information will be there, but it won't be as full on as what we've done tonight. Right? Because you're probably saying to yourself, do you know what I mean? So next week, we're going to be crossing these mountains, the Alps, as we ramble into Switzerland. It's not as loud or clear anymore. Is it not? I wonder, is it the scene? Ah, Gibbo! The fort! The fourth top goal scorer for Liverpool was Billy Little, who was in front, or who was one of only 4 players to breach the 200 goal mark in Liverpool's history. Born in Townhill, Scotland, he signed for Liverpool for £200 in 1938. That's absolutely deadly. Just as he jumps in at the last possible minute, and our lives have been lifted with the story of Liverpool facts. Gibbo Ireland, ladies and gentlemen. My car is Roman. It's called Dacia. Yeah, Dacia was, well, Romania and all that. Let's get some pints of Guinness and modes into the chat there for the mad lad that is Gibbo Ireland. if you remember nothing about tonight about our Roman history, we're going to know all about Liverpool's fourth top goal scorer, Billy Little. Or was it Liddell? You know, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Right, friends, we're about to do our arrival at Lima India Mike Alpha, the Airitalia Airport. Look at the state of this. This is gorgeous. Right. Now, where are we at? We're over here. So we're going to go in for a 10 left airport just behind us. Autopilot coming off. My airplane. In the manifold pressure back. Get our mixture in. Keep the prop where it is. And we'll start a bit of a sporty descent here. We'll ramble over here to the right a bit. Just watch the speed. We don't want to overspeed. Turin is a lovely city. Not for Eurovision, though. Eurovision was a complete disaster when it was held in Turin. Was it? Hey, Kay, thanks, bye. Good to see you. Happy New Year, man. Hope you're well. Alrighty then. Man alive, we've had so many people flying with us tonight. It's been absolutely incredible. I hope you enjoyed the content and I didn't burn the absolute utter bejesus out of you. Do you know what I mean? And if I did, well, sure, tune in next week for more. For the rest of this week, we have the news on Wednesday. And then on Friday, we're doing a flight in the TBM. We're checking out Las Vegas. Version 2. It's going to be fun. Stuttering is crazy tonight, says Flight Aaron. Yeah, it's real messy, man. Real messy. Man alive. Look at the scenery, though. Isn't this gorgeous? My brain was pre-fried from an unexpected squadron lesson. Uh-oh. I thoroughly enjoyed tonight's stream. Ah, thank you, Filthy. Thank you very much. Yeah, 10 left is what I'm going for. Or at least I hope I'm going for, right? So we'll turn back into it now. Murph, are we going to do a flyby over the Flight Sim Expo Hotel? You best believe it. You better believe it. I feel like I've had this before, but did anyone attempt to model the sphere in Vegas? Yeah, Keen. Tune in on Wednesday because I'm going to be showing it off, and then on Friday we're all going to visit there. Flight Tampa's updated Las Vegas version 2 is absolutely brilliant. Oh, Colonel Fork. Well, don't you worry, dude. I'll try and have a lot more of those stupid o'clock streams on the weekends. No one is McGee said, Murph, I had a blast. Can't wait till next week. But the flying was rough tonight. Yeah. I landed out the plane, tearing into smithereens. Oh, come on yourself. Thank you, Viper Strike. Now, where's this runway? I think it's on the left, isn't it? It is. Look at the scenery here, isn't it? Absolutely gorgeous, look. Look at that. That's insanely good, isn't it? Okay, see if we can get the speed down a little bit. Alright, not to flaps. Thank you, Country Flyer. Very kind of you, dude. Alright, gear coming down. Anyone else landing in the other direction from me? Probably. When King never gets his residency in Las Vegas, he'll give everyone a TTM ticket. Yes, Gibbo. Yes, indeed, my dude. Are you back tomorrow? You're off this week, aren't you? Or are you? Okay, flap set. Little bit high. Let's see what happens here. Easy does it. Look at the amount of planes here already. Look, this is class looking. Okay, 90 miles an hour. We're all right. Okay, watch the flare. Easy does it now. Ah, class. Look at everyone lined up. Look, deadly. Right, easy. Jesus, Murph, you're floating it. You're floating it. Jesus. Oh dear God, we bounced it. The shame. The shame. Nothing like a stutter on the end. -7 in the marketplace, Murph. You're back next Monday, you divil. Right, flaps in. Mixture out with smidgen. You saw nothing. Totally fine. Spilled me drink. No one saw that. Not at all. It's fine. It's totally fine. We landed with a bang. But look at the state of this. All the friggin' planes, look. Jesus. Looked like a 777 landing. Some beautiful scenery. And like, over the Alps next week, it's going to be stunning. It was a keen effort landing. Bang! Look at this.
Can I get a refund?
No, shag off. Don't forget to collect the rest of your plane before you leave the runway. Ah, jeez, it wasn't that bad, was it? Yeah, it was pretty bad. Look at everyone lined up here. That's awesome looking. Love that.
I'm in a glass case of emotion.
What about Bob? Good to see you. Fly Darren, the pleasure has been ours, my dude. Great to see you flying with us. It makes Ryanair look good. Another successful demonstration aircraft carrier testing of the landing gear. Was it not bad? The scenery we're going to experience next week is going to be gorgeous. Like, absolutely gorgeous.
Look at this big Egypt.
There's test pilot. Thanks, old veteran. Look at this big Egypt. Look at the amount of planes. That's absolutely class, lads. Love it. Absolutely class. That was a proper group flight, wasn't it? All my lights are flashing. Right, we need to shut this plane down properly. Philip Foster, you take care. Well, hang on. Get ourselves parked in here. Sure, we'll park it on the grass. Try not to hit the planes, Murph. Something like that. Okay, park and brake on. We should scroll down. Let's have a look. Avionics coming off. Landing lights off. Kill the mixture. Give it a second, it'll think about it. Alright. Beacon off. Battery off. Fuel off. Bring up our tablet. And we'll put us into cold and dark. And that'll get everything the way we want it. So let me see. Fuel and payload, no controls. Cold and dark. Shavit. There we are, locked up and good to go when we go flying once again.
Dreamy, sleepy, nighty, snoozy, snooze.
In a couple of days. Ah, lads, that was absolutely brilliant fun. I really, really enjoyed that. Now, if I've managed to burn the ears off you, right? Not like you, Murph. Not burning the ears off you at all. But yes. If I've managed to, you know what I mean? Well, more coming next week. Starting this Roman thing. Our first stream of 2024, guys. Thank you very, very much indeed for joining me. It's been an absolute blast. And we've just started on this next 10-week series, right? And it's going to be busy over the next 10 weeks. So we're back to you on Wednesday. And then we have the news. We're checking out a new aircraft on Wednesday and some scenery as well. And then on Friday night, we have a group flight and we're going to be in the TBM. And more than likely, we're going to do some Forza after the stream to put Muse in his place. And myself and Gibbo will win, as we always do. So if you were thinking about getting Forza, we're having a lot of fun with that. And the reason why I like it so much is because we have the engagement. You guys can play along. I never have, and I probably will never be a person who can just stream a game on my own. Do you know what I mean? I was going to do Red Dead. I was going to do, you know, what's the other one called? Resident Evil and all that. But like, I'd be no guy. Sure, it's the crack I have with you guys, you know. Murph will use cheat codes. Yes. You know, shut up you. I'm just a better driver. What are you talking about? But if you have Game Pass, Forza is available on Game Pass. Right, and we'll do a couple of races on Friday night, and we might, I might look into FIFA as well, Patrick. FIFA's more one-on-one though. Do you know what I mean? I just, you know, Muse needs L plates for Forza. Brilliant. But if anyone's stuck on how to get up and running with Forza, jump on over to our Discord, ! Discord. That'll bring you to our Discord channel. And that's where we hang about when we're not on the live streams. And if you need any help with it, just let us know. And the flying shall continue. Do you know what I was in actually? I fired up X-Plane to see how it was going to behave. It's looking very nice, but it's still not a patch on what we have. Like, it's not a patch on what we have. You know what I mean? But yeah. So that's the story. Lads, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure and a privilege. And what a start to 2024 that we have. And I can't wait until we do it all again on Wednesday. So big shout out to our moderators. Thank you for Gibbo for coming in and saving the day with the Liverpudlian Football Club general history context. And we'll take it up again on Wednesday. So until then, have a great night. See you soon. It's usually the best. It's the best way to do things. You know what I mean? Usually the best way to do things is no matter what sort of a day you're having, just come in and just have a bit of a slag with me, you know?